All right, we're live. It says we've been live for 54 seconds.
Really?
Shit. I don't know. I don't think so. Unless it like takes the
Mine
first
says
little
12
part of it.
seconds on my screen.
Oh, okay. It's probably just delayed or something. But yeah, what's going on, guys? So, episode 7, No Bad Days podcast. Got a few different topics to talk about today. And this information is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Um, what we talk about on the podcast, uh, take it with a grain of salt. Um, there might be some good nuggets of info in here that you do apply, but we're not doctors, we're not recommending you to do anything. Always, use common sense and use your own brain and make your own decisions at the end of the day. But without further ado, we'll get into it. Um, so yeah, we were just talking before the show, and then we got a few topics today. Um, so let's jump into topic number 1, which is high carb days. So, um, do you have a high day today? A high carb
Yeah,
day?
today's my high day. One of my 3 high days.
Yeah. So you're doing a lot of carb cycling with Justin, and you have 3 a week, huh?
Yeah, we started off with 2, and then we
Yeah.
bumped to 3 maybe 8 weeks or so ago.
Yeah. So what are the high days look like now? What's the macros look like for it?
1,000 carbs.
Uh huh.
It's 45 grams of protein with 6 meals. What does that add up to? 90,
24
like
5
270
times
protein,
6, 270. Yeah.
and then zero fat or as low as possible.
Yeah. You don't
No
add any
added
fats
fats,
that day.
and all like the protein is either chicken breast, turkey, fish, and any carb source has to be less than 2 grams of fat per 30 carbs. But I just do
Yeah.
0 gram fat sources
Right. So
or
like no
carb sources.
oats.
Now I'll do like white rice, fruit. The only thing that has any fat, I'll have like an English muffin, which has like 1 gram of
A
fat.
gram.
That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. So 3 days a week. What days are those on?
2 back days, my 2 back days, and then 1 leg day.
Uh huh.
So he always
Yeah.
suggests either like a back day, legs, or like some kind of like major workout. So
Yeah.
like
It's
I
a big
wouldn't run it
body
on like the
part.
arm or shoulder day or
Hmm.
anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me right now, we just have a regular like A and B diet pretty much, to where it's like a rest day is like a little bit lower carbs. It's like 50 less grams. And then like a normal day would be like my macros right now are at nothing crazy because we're still post show, man. Like we're
Yeah.
still kind of like in that period to where like we haven't really ramped up things yet.
Are you like
So
6 weeks post show?
I'm like 8. Well,
Is
let
it
me
really?
see. May 27th was the show. So like coming up on 7, yeah,
Yeah.
coming up on 8 weeks. It's about time to start like fucking putting things together here. So next step is to like get some more blood work and kind of see where things are at. I did get some blood work post show, but just some minimal stuff like lipids and testing estrogen and
I think you said for the
lipids.
most part everything looked good, right?
Yeah, my lipids were in an amazing spot, especially post show, especially taking Halo testing and Winstrol. So, dude, like my lipids are like perfect. Like I was actually like kind of worried, thinking like, dude, I'm gonna have like some shit going on, like
Yeah.
you know, um, yeah. But here my macros right now, 219 protein, 371 carbs, 48 fat, and then a rest day is 211 protein, 274 carbs. Oh shit, we pulled out 100 grams of carbs on the rest day, 47 grams of fat. So
Are
that
you hungry on your rest day?
well, actually, I just got this diet on Thursday, so I haven't had a rest day just yet.
Okay.
So, but either tomorrow. Well, I'm kind of just getting back into training, like not, like I've been still training. I was, training. I've been training the last like 2 weeks now. We took off last week. We just had stuff going on, but yeah, over the last 3 weeks, about 3 weeks ago, I did get a pec strain, a light strain that kind of set me back, like to where I didn't warm up, always warm up, but I got on the incline Smith. I threw on, a plate, 2 plates, then 2 plates and a 25. I did like 4 or 5 reps with like, 1 plate. All right, 2 plate, 4 or 5 reps, and then all right, let's go get 8 or 10 reps on this heavy set. And on like my 8th rep, which I think it was just 8 reps, I heard like a little zip, like a bendy straw in my chest.
Yeah.
And then I got off and I was like, like, okay, that feels a little. It didn't. I mean, I could felt like something happened in there, but like I was ready to, because my next set was a back off set, so I was like ready to like kind of keep going. But then I asked somebody like, hey, like, has this ever happened? Like, what should I do here? Do you just keep training through it, or do you do I go train back? Do I go train legs right now? He's like, just take today off completely. And then I talked to my coach. He said, take the next 3 days off. So that like kind of threw me out a little bit. And, but over like the last 10 days, been like pretty much back at it, not back at chest. I did my first chest day actually on Thursday. I did my first like actual chest day on Thursday.
What did you do?
I did like the full chest workout actually. I even did flies and stuff like that. I just didn't go crazy heavy on anything. Which like for me, like with everything, like I mean, I was just trigger happy to like get on that incline Smith.
Oh,
and, I did 2 not even really warm up sets, and got on and was just like ready to lift some heavy weight. And that log book, like I'm like, oh man, I can do this. And I had the band on it, like, so I had a reverse band. So like logically in my head, it all made sense. Just I didn't warm up like good enough, and it probably could have been fine if I had warmed up. It's a weight I've done before, but I just got trigger happy. And like, then having to take the 3 days off just kind of allowed me to like take a little bit of a step back, like mentally, and be like, okay, like, yeah, what is the rush? Like there really is no rush to, I mean, I have a whole entire year of progress to make, before I decide to get back on stage. But, if I injure myself, I'm not going to be able to make any progress. Right. So three days out of the gym was no big deal. But now, like, what that's kind of taught me is like, okay, now on everything, like not just your chest day, but like, how about your leg day, and how about like your back day, and how about your arm day? Like, are you actually like feeling the muscle, or are you just moving weights, like, so like my training, every workout pretty much since then has been really good, like connecting to the muscle as much as possible.
I wasted a lot of years, I feel like, just moving weight.
Yeah.
A lot of years.
I mean, I just did back today, and this is like an off-topic question, but like, do you think that, I mean, like, you'll see guys like bar, like that, like, okay, like Dusty, like he'll like barbell row like 4 plates, like, and it, like sometimes it doesn't always look very pretty the way he moves his weight, but like, some people build like super big backs and thick backs with like moving really heavy weight, like, do you think like there is like some like muscles need that type of like like this is like the age-old fucking question when it comes to bodybuilding, like heavy weights versus light weights, like does heavy weights build like a denser muscle, like does it give it that look? What do you think?
As far as like back, I definitely, if you look at the guys that kind of really kind of sling like barbell rows, like Dusty, Branch, Ronnie, Johnny Jackson, they all have really well-developed spinal erectors and really big traps.
And traps.
Yeah. So I think if anything, heavyweight definitely develops those 2 muscles. Like I can't really think of a whole lot of guys that are more form-based that have those like standout muscles on their back.
Who I've been watching lately train back is like, I don't know if you've been seeing Nick Walker's videos of him training back. Yeah. The way he controls everything.
I like him. I like the way Justin Shire trains.
Oh yeah, and he just won the Chicago Pro.
Yeah. And then Mike Van Wyck has a lot of good tips on back training.
Yeah. I like watching his back training tips.
I think at the same time, I think the risk isn't quite worth the reward with that kind of heavy training. At least for me, like I've hurt my back a few times kind of going heavy on stuff. So for me, it just it wasn't worth the risk. But if you're, less injury prone and have a pretty solid lower back, I think, you can definitely develop your spinal erectors and traps significantly more than you can with like feel sets and kind of pump training.
Yeah, I think it's necessary to have some, but I don't think it should make up the entirety of your work.
Yeah.
Like today I did like chest supported T-bar rows, and like that's one you can kind of go heavier on, like T-bar rows,
And
barbell
that's a
bent
safe
over
movement
rows.
too with the chest pad there.
Yeah, with the chest pad you're supported. The other thing though is like programming. Like if I did T-bar rows, bent over rows, rack pulls,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna go do pull-ups, and then I'm gonna go do heavy lat pull downs, and then I'm gonna go do single arm dumbbell rows. Like
That's a lot.
that's like even like half of that is like super taxing and fatiguing on the body. So
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're doing one set of each of those, yeah, I mean that can make sense. But like I feel like there's like multiple ways to like skin a cat too. Like the thing about training is like I don't know, because I've been doing a lot of my own training, so like I've been learning more about training and just immersed in understanding training more. You know, I was doing like some more high volume post show, which I think is good because it's good post show to like get some lighter weights going. Your joints are not ready for heavy weights yet. Your mineral balance is all off, so you're more likely to tear something just based off that, not because just your joints are brittle, but because like the muscle doesn't have that fluid that you're rehydrating really for, I think like 2, 3, 4 weeks really post show. Like
Oh, yeah.
you're probably still dehydrated in some areas of the body. But yeah, I've been diving a lot into training and like you know there's there's two ends of like the spectrum. There's like the extreme like of moving the heavy weights, form it's not really like matter as long as the intensity is very high,
Mm-hmm.
and the weight gets moved. And then there's like the other side, like the optimal like scientific side, you know. But like at the end of the day, like the guys moving the heavy weights are sometimes they are some of the biggest guys, and the guys like
They
who
are.
are preaching like the
Historically, they really
science and
are.
stuff like that, or like they don't even look like they lift compared to those guys.
That's the one,
But
like, you never want to like put too much stock in the person's physique that's like telling you things, because like if you look at some of the coaches like Hani Rambod, he doesn't really look like a bodybuilder. Chris Aceto was a bodybuilder, but he doesn't look like one anymore. But at a certain point, the guys that are teaching like all this kind of science-based RIR, super strict form, if you look at a lot of their physiques, they're not the biggest guys. So at a certain
yeah,
point, I think there is some validity to, you have to
mhm,
look at who's telling you the information.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's like a line between because look, when you like the amount of fatigue that you can handle is an adaptable thing. It's like, well, you don't want to over fatigue, like but you're gonna have to push that line somehow, some
Oh
way if
yeah,
you're gonna make progress. Like if you only lifted the 5 pound dumbbells, like you'd never make progress after a
yeah,
while. You have to move up eventually. But it's like managing that. So I think there is some kind of like magic in between like the balls to the wall type training and then the stricter form. I think we'll see. Like I think what would be good is to kind of look at this year's Olympia and just see like who made the biggest progress, because we know like Nick is training the way he's training.
yeah.
Um, but then we're also dealing with different physiques and just different genetics and gifts and things like
That's
that.
true.
I think Derek trains a little bit more, a little bit more high volume.
Samson's made a big jump under Milos training high volume.
hmm Yeah, Samson, and then Andrew Jacked. It's interesting to see, like I want to see what he does, like he's going to be in Texas actually.
Yeah, I think that's like
hmm
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then there's Ian, who I think if you watch him train, I mean Justin Shire just won the Chicago Pro, and the way he trains is very like strict, like
Yeah.
he's very strict, you know. Um I mean, I made a lot of progress training more strict, like tightening up my form and really connecting to the muscle versus chasing the weight did make me a lot of progress.
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably lean on more of that side, but there's also like the side of like being able to push, like because you can get comfortable and like what's good about having a coach is like I'll send my coach videos. I remember I was doing hack squats or like I was doing V squats, a V squat machine. I had like 2 plates on or something. He's like, I think you could probably add another plate to that. And I like added another plate to it. I'm like, I could add another plate to
Mhm.
that. Like, what the fuck was I doing not adding this plate? And then like the next week I added or a week or two later, I added another plate and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just being a fucking bitch. Like,
Yeah.
so it's easy to like fall into the comfortability of like, well, this feels good. This is comfortable. Like, you know, and if you don't have someone telling you to push, like you're going to be just spinning your wheels for a while.
Yeah.
So
And
that,
realistically, like you don't know where your line is until you
mhm,
cross it.
yeah.
I mean, so like you can keep pushing, pushing, pushing. You might still have even more room to push until you get to a point where you're like, oh fuck, like I gotta back off or I gotta take a plate off or
Yeah. Well, I guess what it would really come down to. I think training to failure is good
Yeah,
because this
I
is
agree.
like this also comes down to training to failure. Like some people say, oh, well, leave a rep or two in the tank, or leave 3 4 reps in the tank. Leave go to or train absolutely every set to failure. Now, there's different like levels of failure though. Like what's failure to you? Is failure like once that rep doesn't look as good anymore, or is failure to you like I really can't fucking move this muscle anymore?
Right now, it changed over time. So a
Mhm.
few years ago, I would tell you it's I can't move the weight anymore. But right
Mhm.
now, where I am, failure is where form starts to break down.
Yeah. I think that's a safe place to be, and I think you can make a lot of progress there.
Yeah.
Cause I could put on like, probably 4 plates on on, a T-bar row and row it, and I could probably get 4 or 5 clean reps, but then like
Yeah.
5 and 6 are complete shit. Like, but I'm not growing from 5 or 6 reps. I'm growing in that 8, 10, 12, 15
Yeah.
rep range. So, I think there has to be some of that in consideration too, but there's also the other side of failure where it's just mentally you're fucking drained. Like you don't have
Oh,
another,
yeah.
you know.
Like legs and back, I feel like a lot of people fail mentally even
Mhm.
before form breaks down or they can't move the weight. They just get so uncomfortable they just stop or they think they
Yeah.
have to stop.
Mhm. Yeah, that's just another place like I don't know. You got to pull on something like I love being in that place where like like you got like 2 more reps like you're supposed to do and you know like sometimes like okay like on a hack squat like let's say you're doing a hack squat like or even like a barbell squat. You got to get 10 reps. You get to your 8th rep. That 8th rep is hard as fuck. Like, the 9 or 10 you is definitely going to be failure. You might get stuck at the bottom,
Yeah.
you know. But if you can like just sit at the top for a second, take 5 seconds, take a few deep breaths, just get your mental focus there and then go for those next 2 reps or 1 rep at a time. There's that mental barrier that you push through. Then you do the 2 reps and you're like, "Oh fuck, I had that." You
Yeah.
did it. And then maybe next week you don't take as long at the top. Maybe you get to 9, without having to like take that pause.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but like my legs really made a lot of progress last year. I mean, this is going kind of into a rabbit hole of like of other things, but dude, I would take like 2 or 3 hours doing legs, like just because I would take my time to rest and
Yeah.
to mentally be ready. Like I couldn't squeeze my leg day into a 45-minute workout.
My leg days right now are about 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah. Like I couldn't cut it yeah, like I could do it in an hour,
Yeah.
but like I'm not gonna do everything that I absolutely could do in that gym.
I agree.
So, you know,
I don't understand how people do it in an hour because I'm thinking like you have to do quads, all right, you have to do hamstrings, you have to do calves, you should be doing your adductors.
mhm,
I mean, those are 4 muscles. Like I don't understand how you can hit all those in an hour. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, you either break it up like into a quad or hamstring day, and or something like that,
Yeah,
or
like if
you
someone
could.
has a hamstring day, like hamstring
Uh-huh.
and calves, like I could do that in an hour, you know.
Yeah, I could do. I
But
can get that done in an hour, but like with squats, or if I'm like doing RDLs, I like to take 3-4 minutes between a set.
yeah,
Like on a heavy movement like that, I like to take 3-4 minutes. You know, I like in Justin's program, he would say take less rest time between sets, and that's a way of making progress. But I'm thinking, like, what am I progressing there? Am I progressing like my aerobic capacity, or am I progressing the actual muscle, like
yeah.
growing?
I would put like, I mean, it definitely is the form of progression, but if we're looking at like order of most importance, I would say your rest time is furthest at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
As far as like, let's say we can bench 100 pounds, and this week I did it with 60 seconds rest. If next week I do it in 50 seconds as opposed to 60, I don't really know how significant that is
Is
to the
that is that
muscle.
just more muscular endurance, or is that muscle now bigger, stronger? Like like right? Like I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, but it'll also look like this. Like, okay, if I had 10 reps to do on the hack squat, but in between each rep I rested for 10 seconds at the top, like you know that's
yeah,
not really serving me well versus like
I
pumping
agree
out
with that.
a real
Yeah,
10 reps.
yeah,
Yeah. So like I think when you're ready, you know, hit that next muscle. I don't know if like okay, like a bicep curl, like okay, you need 30 seconds. Like I've actually heard this to where if the set takes you 30 seconds, you times it by like 5 or 7. So if it's like a 30 or let's say it's like a 20-second set times 5, then you
hmm
take 120 seconds. Like if or something like that. I've heard that, but I don't know. I think hard fast rules like that are maybe good guidelines, but not always the
yeah.
best to follow because
Because like a 30-second set of bicep curls versus a 30-second set of hack squat is going to be significantly different.
yeah, you might not need 210 seconds to recover from a set of bicep curls. 210 seconds is about 3 minutes for a little bit more than 3 minutes. I might need 4 minutes, dude. I might need five, honestly, for a set of hack
I
squats.
wait
That's
till my
30
breathing is
seconds.
returned to normal. If
Yeah,
that's three
I'll lay
minutes,
down.
yeah,
Nothing
3 minutes,
taxes me like
4 minutes.
legs, though. I never feel like uh, I don't know. I never feel like after a set of back, I need to take 5 minutes. Maybe I need three.
Yeah, unless you're
I
doing
think
like a
that
deadlift, that would be the only thing I
yeah,
could really think.
yeah. I think that's a way to manage fatigue though, because if you're just like all right, 2 minutes, I need to go again. Like I feel like you're compound. Like you need to let that fatigue kind of flush out, like and breathe
Yeah,
it out and relax, and then because you're hitting the central nervous system. It's like you're hitting it once on that first set, and then if you don't really rest that long, like you're kind of compounding on top of that. And like, how good are you going to be for the rest of your workout now?
yeah. The only thing I can think of, like I've done short rest periods as like an intensity technique. Like let's say I'm doing like wrist curls or something. I'll do like a set of 10. I'll
Hmm.
wait like 20 seconds and then I'll do another set. It's almost like a form of like a drop set. Like,
Hmm.
but I'm doing it knowing that I'm already fatigued. Like I wouldn't do straight sets of say like squats going in before I'm recovered because I know I'm not going to get the number of reps that I could if I was fresh.
Yeah. Earlier this week on my hamstring day, I did calves, and these fucking I felt like they put an inch on my calves. I did uh, one of the dudes in the gym, he's a trainer at Advanced Fit. He doesn't he's not like a trainer for Advanced, but he has clients that he trains.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the guy I asked about my pec, by my pec string. What should I do? Should I like keep training? And he's like, no, take the rest. But I was on the seated leg press, like the blue one, the 90-degree one,
Yeah.
doing calves, and he had me go to like do the whole stack for 5 reps, immediately cut the stack, by like three, plates or whatever on there, or
Mm-hmm.
3 blocks or 4 blocks or whatever. Do 7, immediately drop the stack another 3 or 4 blocks, and then do 9. And like he also like had me train the calves in a way to where like you're only coming down to about 90%, and then I'm only coming up to about 90%. So I'm like
Okay.
keeping tension versus going to the 100% extremes, right?
Mhm.
And dude, my calves, it felt like they like put an inch on them, like just doing that. But
That machine's great for calf presses.
yeah, I like that one
Really.
a lot. Yeah, that's how I've been doing calves. I like seated calves. But if I'm doing like a straight leg calf movement, then I like that one versus the standing calf machine.
Yeah, I agree.
hmm Um, yeah, man, that's a lot about training. Um, there's a lot of good stuff right there. Um, for me, like I think it is a blend, overall of what you kind of need. Um, my physique changed like when I like lightened, like checked the ego a bit and really got the form down.
Same.
So yeah, I think we'll see. Like, I mean, it's good to pay attention, like to who is winning the shows, like, and like what type of training are they doing? How much of progress are they making? I mean, and I think Justin Shire winning the Chicago Pro is a pretty good sign. Did you get to see that at all? Did you take a look
Yeah.
at any of the? You see how Blessing looked? He looked like he was pretty good. Looked a
Yeah.
little watery though compared to
He was a little smooth.
a little smooth through his legs. It looked like, and then the hamstrings looked like they were a little soggy.
The top three, like Justin,
Who
Jonathan
else
Della
was in
Rosa,
that? Uh-huh.
and then Stanimal.
Mm-hmm.
That top three was really good. I could have made a case for Della Rosa winning.
Mm-hmm.
But Shire, in my opinion, I thought would win. I thought should win.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked great, man.
And he was a heavyweight. He was a small heavyweight. Like he won nationals in 2021. I think he said he weighed in at like 212. So he was like a
I
smaller
think he's
heavyweight.
around like I think I heard in a video he was like 229
Yeah.
recently.
So that's like 17 pounds of muscle, like
Dude,
from
that's a
national to
ton.
this show.
Yeah, like that's exciting as fuck. Like
Yeah.
when you can put on like another 10 pounds of muscle. Like I put on 10 pounds from May last year until May this year. And like I feel like when you do something once, like you can do it again. And like, I mean, just like we talked about on an episode or two ago, like with prep getting easier,
Yeah.
like dieting the first like, okay, like the first like 10 or 12 weeks is easy, but those last 4 weeks are just fucking hard. Like
Uh,
there's just no way around it, dude. It's just fucking hard. And you're getting more conditioned. Like that was the most conditioned I ever was.
yeah.
I'm looking at some of the photos and and knowing how I felt on that day, like that morning of like those progress photos, and just looking at it, like I fucking felt like death here, dude. Like I remember one night, like I got up like 15 to 20 times to go pee. It's weird because like you fill up with all this water like throughout the day, and then you pee it all out, and then you feel like a dried out skeleton by the time you
Yeah.
wake up in the morning. And then you didn't sleep because you're up every 20 minutes.
When you
Fucking
wake up
miserable.
and you're like super lean and dry, it's a weird feeling. Like your muscles feel like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like they're like really tight. Like when you're walking to the bathroom, they feel like tight and like dry.
And
It's a
dry
bizarre
and
feeling. It's hard
flat.
to explain.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's why I feel like post show, like hydration and like I was training 6 days a week post show, dude. Like I should have listened to my coach and just like he said, like 2 days on, 1 day off, two
You
days
were
on, two
excited
days
though.
off. I was ready to get. I just wanted to like go get a sick pump and like do all that shit, but I'm learning still. So yeah, and like it could be easy for me to tell somebody like, all right, don't go in the gym and like rehydrate and like get your body right before you're ready to go back into the gym and everything like that. Like most people aren't gonna really listen to that. Like we're
No.
humans, man. We're gonna make like don't go crazy on food. Like yeah, fucking.
Yeah.
What does Justin say that like Grellin's gonna win like at the end of the day or something?
Yeah. That's why he
Yeah.
puts cheat meals in his diet. He's like, I know you're going to cheat at some point. This way we can
Mhm.
structure them and plan for it.
Yeah. 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 Actually, okay, talking about the high carb days, there's actually one more thing I want to talk about as it pertains to so you have high carb days in your off season
Yeah.
to bring up those body parts. You're training bigger body parts like back and legs, so
Correct.
your bigger body parts going to soak up those carbs a lot better. lower fats on those days. I mean, 1,000 grams of carbs, it's a lot of food. Are you hungry for all those carbs, or are you like by the end of
My
the day
high
you
carb
hit?
days are my appetite's the best on those days. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's the use of the insulin or the fact that I'm not having any fat,
yeah,
but my appetite is far and away the best on those high carb days. And I think it's for
yeah.
both those reasons, actually. I think the fat has a lot to do with it, like we discussed. I think last show,
It
um,
does.
fat
Yeah,
just it can kill your appetite and just slow digestion.
it does. And like, there's another topic why low fat dieting. Well, I wrote why low fat dieting is the best, or just low fat dieting versus high fat, or medium fat, or
Hmm.
you know, like the thing is, what I've learned now post show is like I need some fats because if I just do super high carb days and like keep fats really fucking low, dude, I can eat 2,000 grams of carbs in a day.
Oh
Like
yeah,
my appetite is so crazy. With the thing that the fats do is they stabilize insulin in your blood. So like you have carbs and you have some fats with the carbs, you're not going to get as big of a drop from those carbs. It's not going to drop as quickly. And like when your insulin level or your blood sugar drops very quickly, that's going to trigger hunger.
oh yeah.
That's why like if you say like you eat your first meal, like you're hungry now 2-3 hours later. If you don't eat first thing in the morning, yeah, you can probably go 4 or 5 hours without eating, because your blood
Yeah.
sugar is just very stable.
And
Um,
if you've taken too much insulin and you go hypo,
mhm,
like not the type of hypo where you start like the cold sweats, but the type of hypo where
mhm.
like it's like the most ravenous type of hunger like you can
You're gonna eat a
imagine.
whole box of cereal or
You
something.
really could, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I like to do, what I like and what I've noticed in my diets before, and what I'll do with other people's diets, is like I'll make their first meal pretty high carb because I
Yeah,
want that sugar to start dropping, and then I want them to be hungry, 2-3
yeah.
hours later. Like, I might do like if someone has say 500 carbs in a day, I might make their first meal like 100 or 120 carbs,
Hmm.
something like that. And then like, their pre-workout's probably going to be somewhere around there. Their post-workout's going to be kind of somewhere high. And then, about half that later on in the day. And then, maybe half that later on at night, kind of taper things off.
I
But,
think the worst thing you can do for your appetite, like if you're trying to get a lot of food in, is to have like a big fat meal like your first meal. You're gonna kill your
well, high
appetite from the start.
fats. You're
Yeah,
talking about high fat, like a high fat
yeah,
meal.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I know there's people that like eat like 5 eggs for
I've
breakfast or
done it
like six
before.
eggs. I've done it before too. But yeah, if you're trying to push your food and you don't have an appetite right now, I think I said this in the last episode too. Just drop out your fats and see how hungry you fucking get.
Yeah.
But also like you do want to have some fats because like they're gonna help with your digestion. You need essential fatty acids. Um so like the timing of the fats is kind of key. So like, you know, I like them at the end of the day to kind of slow things down and kind of like, you know, um stabilize things. Like you kind of want to put them in. I wouldn't have added fats to every single meal because you just won't be able to get all 6 meals in or 5 meals
Yeah.
or however many meals you're eating. Um but if you put them in at strategic times, like maybe first thing in the morning, a little bit of fat, maybe post workout, or pre workout, maybe have a little bit of fat, and then maybe before bed, have a little bit of fat. But if it's in every meal, like you're gonna get 3 meals in and be like, "Oh, I'm not hungry, like I'm not
Yeah.
ready to eat." Well, now it's been 6 hours, like, and you're supposed to eat 3 hours ago, like,
You got to make up some meals at this point.
yeah, you don't want to do that. So managing that is key.
What's the
Um,
lowest amount of fat you think an
I've been
enhanced person could get away with on a regular basis?
like on a regular basis,
Yeah. Let's say a 200-pound bodybuilder that's enhanced.
I would say like no lower than 30 grams,
Yeah. I was
maybe
thinking
20,
25, 30.
25. Like, I mean, like the thing is, like, how long can you sustain that? Like, all right, if you of actual added fats, 25 grams.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you put like I mean, because like 2 tablespoons of almond butter is like 16 grams of fat, so you could have another 10.
Yeah,
If you were to put that in meal one, meal three, and meal five or meal six, like
I
I
think you'd
think
be
you'd
okay.
I think you'd be fine. Yeah. I mean, my fat's only at like 48, but like I've gone very high on the fats before.
What's the
Um,
highest amount you would run now, knowing what you do?
I would maybe run no more than 60,
Yeah, I
65.
agree.
Yeah. Like I think maybe like okay, once you're pushing a lot of food, like your carbs get so high, you might need little bit more fat just because you're needing to move that in your digestive tract, and they're
Yeah,
going to keep your digestive system, lubricated pretty much. It just keeps the pipes greased basically at that point. Um, but if it was like messing with my appetite, I'd pull it back. You could do like a high fat day too. Maybe on your rest day, you just load up on fats a little bit more.
yeah,
That might be a way to manage it. That way, like carbs, on your training days and your days that you're moving weights, you can get them all in, and then just do go minimal fats that day, and then do a higher fat rest day, and that'll keep everything moving. I think.
one check-in I had with Justin, I was doing, so on my rest days I was doing 14 grams of fat, and on my
Hmm.
regular training days I was doing 10 grams of fat. And at
Hmm.
one of my check-ins, he pulled the rest day down to 10 grams and the regular training day down to 7, but
Hmm.
added like double the calories worth of carbs. And the next week, I actually lost weight.
Yeah, it's weird, dude. Like, like that. I mean, a calorie is not really like a like a macro is like a calorie is not really a calorie. It is in terms of losing weight, but like in terms of improving composition, it comes down to the macros. Like
Yeah,
more carbs, like your body's going to use them. Fats, like your body only has one thing it can do with it. It can store it as body fat or you know use it.
yeah,
But it's if you're already in a calorie surplus, it's going to just store it.
hmm
You know, you're in storage mode at that point. So that's the thing with fats. Like just going too high on them is, I think you'll run into issues faster. With higher fats. But if you're having appetite issues, you can always pull them back, reset some things, and just take a look at changing. Like you can have the same amount of calories, like you said, or even more calories, probably
yeah,
in carbs. Um. So all right. So back to the high carb days. So like you have them in your off season right now,
yeah,
and therefore they're in there like in place to facilitate growth on those days. You have insulin with the high carb days, so that's like you're pushing all these nutrients into the cell on a high carb day. I mean, there's a side of people that will say like, "Well, I'd have the high carb day before a training day," and like that's going to improve your performance, but like it's not necessarily about
yeah.
performing on the high carb day. It's about bringing nutrients into that muscle that day. To facilitate recovery, not necessarily performance. You don't grow in the gym; you grow recovering. Now, what about like high carb days when dieting? Did you like in the past if your coach is giving you like refeeds and high carb days when dieting?
Yeah. So going into both my last two shows, we would do a high day, like if my weight stalled or if I dropped weight too quick, we would do a high carb day. But my hard carb days then, like the highest I got, I think was like 600.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then what was your regular like carb intake?
it could have been anywhere from like going into nationals, it was zero carbs.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any
And
high
then
days going into nationals, or
now,
was it just get the fat off at
yeah,
that
it was
point?
just kind of,
Or what about
yeah.
going into the a Harbor Classic?
My carbs were like 250, 300 at their lowest.
Yeah,
And then if I stalled, we would go to 600.
so
And
double them
then,
pretty much.
yeah. And then
Uh
maybe
huh.
we pull down to like 225 for a few days and then like
Just
bring
to
it
let
back up.
everything kind of
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So my first like time dieting, uh, like getting ready for a show. Like I worked with more of an old school coach. Um, you know who Don Long is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked with Don Long. I mean,
Oh, that's
he's a
cool,
great.
dude.
Yeah, well, I worked not with him directly, but I worked with one of his coaches who he had on his team, and it was pretty old school, man. Like it was pretty old school. Like I don't know if you've ever done like exercises where it was like 15, 12, 10, 8 or something.
Oh
Like
yeah, like
everything's like
pyramiding down.
pyramid. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was all like that. I think actually when we first started training, he had me doing like sets of 30, but
Oh
like I
shit.
think it got my muscle to where like I don't know, it did something. Like I wonder if I never had done that, if it like I don't know. I don't really know, but like I know that like it was like I could only focus on form and like doing the rep right versus like loading up on super heavy weights.
Like if you went through some kind of adaptation from that.
Yeah, because I had done that for like a good couple months. Like we were doing like 30 rep sets or like 20 reps. Like it was all high, very very high volume. I wish I could
That's a
find
lot of
that
reps
plan.
for
If
a
I can
team.
find that plan, I'll send it over to you. But
Yeah.
that was what we started out on. And then we went to like 12, 10, 15, or 15, 12, 10, 8, like type of workouts. But then the diet, like there was no high carb days or no refeeds after like 12 weeks out. Like it was just
Yeah.
diet, and it was like your chicken and rice, salmon, asparagus, oats, egg whites, eggs, or protein powder, whatever it was, for
When
12
you
weeks
stalled,
on.
what did he just pull you down further if you stalled?
Um, I mean, it worked, man. Like the thing is, I think with guys, like you could keep like it was
Oh,
my
I agree.
first time getting ready, so it's like we didn't really know what number we were gonna be hitting anyways. So it was just like, you know, everything was about like just pushing forward. There was no like take a step back, 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
I learned how to do that on like my second prep. Like I was like researching like refeeds and high carb days and like part of me was just like fucking starving and I wanted to eat and I wanted to learn how to do it. And like I went and did like I doubled the carbs for a day. And then like the next day I'm like, I'm lighter. Like, or like by like a few days after that, I'm like, I'm lighter. Like, how the hell am I,
Yeah.
lighter? So I like implemented those throughout my prep. I kind of just did them on myself by myself. Um, but I had learned, a new school trick that like, kept me functioning through prep. Um, so but they're like the thing is they're I don't think they're like mandatory. Like I think if you have to push, you have to push because they are kind of taking you out of dieting for a day. You're not
Oh yeah.
necessarily a deficit that day. Now, are you turning on like what do you get out of a refeed or like a high carb day on a diet? Like what you get is you're filling the muscle back up with glycogen, so your training performance can come up. So like if one of my athletes, if their training is like going down, like if it's because it's like within reason, like yeah, like when you're prepping, like you're training, you're not going to be training like you are in the off season, like but if you have like a big drop in like strength, like you're just fucking gassed, like you might need a high carb day.
Yeah.
Now I look at the other things too, like where's the weight? Well, the weight's still moving down, like you know how much time do we have? Like like is there time to throw in this high carb day? There's a lot of factors to look at. Then I also look at like digestion, how's your sleep, how's your what's your hunger level, you know um for example, like I have an athlete right now getting ready for the Tampa Pro. I got her the lowest I've gotten her so far, and like kind of the diet I've set her up on is one, I just increased her cardio um a few days ago. She's got 14 days out literally today, so she's 2 weeks out, um August 5th. So I just increased her cardio, I think like Monday or Wednesday or something, um, pretty significantly because I want to get her. I have a number in mind of where I need to get her at. She's like 5'1". I think she needs to be around like 94 pounds, like 96 pounds, which is like light, like it's super light,
What does she
you
weigh
know.
now?
She hit a new low today, 99.8. So
Oh
like
fuck
she's
yeah.
like right where she needs to be. Her last show she was like 104, right? But she wasn't like condition the level of
Yeah.
conditioning she could get to, But we're gonna push it this time, dude. We're gonna get her I'm gonna get her stage condition. Um Now like she checked in today and like she hit a new low, like 99.8, and like I had just made changes. I just changed her cardio, diet. I kept it the same. On her training days, she gets about 70 grams of carbs. On her non-training days, she's zero carbs. But I did
Mhm.
increase the fats a little bit. And like with girls, like it's like I would, it's hard to like want to put like being able to push somebody and just. I've been there myself, like I've like on my prep, my coach was like, okay, like you're like, all right, I hope I get a refeed today.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, like, can you push like a few more days? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can, I will. Like, I don't want to, but I can. Like,
Those are the worst days when you're expecting a refeed, like I'm going to get a refeed for sure. And
yeah,
then
I'm
you
so
either have
dead.
more cardio or less food.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the other thing. It's like managing like the mental thing because like what Justin says, like Growlin ultimately wins. Like, so pretty much like I hope she's not watching this because she doesn't know what I'm gonna be doing next. But like I told her check in Monday. Like let's not do a refeed. I gave her my reason for it. And the reason was
Yeah.
like we have 14 days. We just made changes. I want to see like how much we can get out of these changes before we just throw in more food.
Sure.
So let's just see. Let's push. It's 14 days, and you're so close to the end at this point that it's like in 14 days you can eat whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So let's just bring it at, absolute best. You've been doing this. It's 14 more days. But like I do plan on giving her a refeed before she gets on stage because I do want to see what amount of carbs I can push for her.
Mhm.
I just gave her a refeed last week on Saturday or I believe Saturday. So she's kind of right, like pretty much at the tail end of like that refeed of that all those carbs kind of burning back out.
How many carbs did you give her?
I think I gave her on that day from 70. I brought her up 50 grams, I think, to 120.
Okay.
I believe. So I think on this next one, I'm gonna try and push like 150 or so. Let me see what I did. Yeah. Yeah, I increased her cardio earlier last week. I gave her a refeed. I gave her one Sunday, July 15th, which would have been a week ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
so she had one a week ago. I brought her up to 120 carbs, brought her protein down a little bit to 125 fat. So I'm gonna try to bring her up to like maybe 150, 160 carbs, and like she's small, bro. Like I mean, she's like less than 100 pounds. Like she's not
Yeah.
gonna need Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to carb up.
No.
She's gonna need Friday. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. And
Is she bikini?
she's gonna do bikini and wellness.
Okay.
So she's gonna do both. She has a body type and she's got legs to where like she's only 18. Like she'll do really good within the next like 2, 3, 4 years. Like she could do great. I mean, she's got a really good body type for wellness. Dude, I don't know if you saw the chicks at Universe, like the bikini competitors.
Oh yeah.
They looked like wellness. Like their legs were big, dude. But
like
anyways,
the line keeps getting moved back and back and back for each class. Like I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Like
Universe
the bikini girls are getting bigger. The wellness girls are getting bigger. Like every class is getting bigger.
Yeah. It's just like slight enough between show to show that you don't really notice it. But if you were to look at like 4 years ago bikini, 4 years ago now,
it's not even the same sport.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But anyways, so yeah, like what I'm kind of doing, like managing that, like her, like I have to keep in mind, I don't want her to have a mental breakdown and go and eat the entire pantry of food, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think she's there. I think she's tough enough to where she can push. But I told her Monday, we're going to assess where she's at. Now, in my mind, I'm actually thinking we'll probably do the refeed Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to give her some light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I tell her, like, well, it's 5 days from now versus 2 days from now, like,
that's a really good strategy. It sounds like minimal, but it really does help.
Yeah. And like Monday, it might be the day, but like I would like to really get us flat before we put that in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just a little mental thing. Like, so I'll see where she's at Monday. If she's like dropped like 3 pounds by Monday, yeah, I could probably throw it in then.
Sure.
But if she's like kind of still holding, I want to see what 2 more days can do.
Oh yeah,
You know,
especially if it's like 1.5 pounds.
yeah, that'd be
2 pounds.
huge. Yeah.
You can push more.
And then from there, she'll have about 10 days out. So, we'll be able to have the refeed, push it hard enough to where like I can kind of see her physique come to life a little bit. And then from there, have a really good idea of how, I'll have her peak. And then I also told, I've got her dialing in her water right now, her salt and everything like that. So, um, she's gonna look her best, dude. I mean, will be her
That's cool.
second
Is this her
show.
first show? Oh, you said
She'll be her
second. You did
second.
one, right?
Yeah. She's gonna look right. She's gonna be stage ready. She'll be. You're gonna go see the Tampa Pro.
I might go. Yeah, that's the. Is it the Pro Am, right?
It's Pro Am.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there will be like some, people in town and stuff. It'll be cool.
I think Hunter's doing that show, right?
I don't know if he's still doing it or not. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Thomas, I think, is too.
I know Andrew Jack is.
Yeah. That's gonna be a good show.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next topic, man. Lowest meal you ever ate. So this could be, and anybody who's watching or gets this far in the episode, comment down below what the lowest meal you ever ate was. Whether it was like I ate pizza every single day to try to bulk up, or something that you ate on a consistent basis that was just low, like that you used to do this. Maybe you currently do this. Let us know. It could be the cheapest one too. So either like the cheapest like bodybuilding food you ever ate that you ate on a consistent basis, or just like a shitty fucking low meal that you consistently were able to get down and you did it for say a month at least.
As far as just like shitty meals, like I used to do, this was maybe, what year was I was in college. I would do like post-workout. I would do one of those little, it was like a little personal pizza. I forget what brand it is. It's like the little black box, Firestone
like
or something. Maybe that's it. But it was like I would have those post-workout for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. Like I would just have a little pizza post-workout with a protein shake.
Changed your mind about it? Like
I was like, what? No pro bodybuilders are doing this. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then another time I would do like pita chips as like a carb source, like low-fat pita chips, just like out of the big bag with like some bean dip. And I would have that as one of my carb sources.
Oh, really?
And I was like, what the fuck? Like the amount of sodium in these, like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, for me, when I first like got to college, like I remember going to Walmart and like trying to figure out like, all right, what should I eat like to put on weight? And I found like Marie Calendar chicken pot pies were like 1,000 calories each. And so I just like I stocked up on them, bro. I probably bought like 20 of them, put them in my freezer. And then like I would go work out. I'd come home from the gym. I'd start the oven. Instead of just cooking it for 5 or 6 minutes in the microwave, I'm like, I'm gonna put this in the oven. It's gonna taste good. And then I put it in the oven. I would like go pass out because I'd be like coming down from the pre-workout at that point, like the bathtub pre-workout. That was worked amazing that you can't find anymore, pretty much. And I get up and like I'd go and fucking eat this chicken pot pie. I don't know, it felt like probably 3 months that I did this for. And like I went from like I was like 125 or like 130. And I got to like 135. And then I was just stuck there. And I was like, so that was like, all right, I need to make a change here. Like I need to figure out something.
I actually thought of another one I did a few years ago. This was like 2000, somewhere between like 2018, 2019. I was eating like the Hungry Man TV dinners as like a meal every day.
No.
I was like, oh, this has got chicken breast. This has got, corn and potatoes. It's fine.
Yeah, Fuad Abiyad says he used to do that after like working as a bouncer, like go eat like 2 or 3 of those.
And you look at like the ingredients and like the stuff that's in it isn't even like really food.
I don't even know what the macros on the chicken pot pies were, but I know there's like 1,200 milligrams of sodium or more. It might be 2 grams of sodium in there.
Was it easy to get those down? Like, did the meal go down easy?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, like I liked it at first for a little bit, and then I just remember getting so fucking sick of it. I remember like killing my appetite completely. Like, where I like lost my appetite for I don't know how long.
When's the last time you had a chicken pot pie? Now,
Dude, I don't think I've had one in years now. I would eat one. If it was from like a restaurant I wouldn't go buy one and put one in my oven. But like if it was good from the grocery,
like a
like
homemade chicken pot
I think
pie.
my dad might have bought them like years ago, like a really good one. But yeah, this was like these weren't good. Later on, like I mean, this is like not even really necessarily a low meal. Like it is low because it's cheap, but like it is bodybuilder food. It was just like tuna, maybe rice, and I would just throw mustard on it. And
Well, that's a good meal.
yeah, I mean, if you can't afford, you know, I don't know. I mean, you should be able to afford like chicken and stuff like that. Like it's not too
Yeah,
expensive, but if like you're really, really down bad and you're wanting to get some protein in, eggs, egg whites, tuna, probably packets of I've never ate packets of chicken or canned chicken.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still eat
Oh
tuna
yeah,
out
no,
of a
you
can
do. You do.
now. I still
Yeah.
eat tuna out of a can. I like it.
Some people do. One time I was like dating this chick, or like I went out with this chick, and like she was on prep getting ready for a show, and like she like pulled out like minute rice out of like the little cup, and then
Yeah,
like canned salmon or like packet of salmon. I'm like, I've never seen anybody like this fucking like like I cook my food like or
yeah.
at least like I don't
But
know.
she didn't heat it up or anything. Just ate it right out of the thing.
Yeah, I'm so bad at cooking rice right now, bro. Like, it's probably good to have a few of those emergency packets of rice or minute
Well, we
rice.
talked about. I think I don't know if this was on show or off show. Like I just do the minute rice in the box,
Yeah, I used to
and
do
I cook
boil and
each
bag
meal
rice.
individually. Yeah,
So after I had eaten the chicken pot pies, like I figured I needed to learn how to cook something else. So I was like ground beef, 80-20.
oh
80-20
shit.
ground beef. Yeah. And I just like, all right, I don't even know how I learned. All you do is just make it brown in a pan and put some seasoning on it.
Yeah.
I was eating 8 ounces a day consistently of that, and then like 2.5 or like 2 cups of rice with it, like as one of my last meals for the day.
That's a big meal.
It was a big fucking meal. And actually what I would do sometimes, and like some people could probably still get away with this, is take like some Fritos or Doritos or something and like crush them up and throw them on
Yeah.
top. And that was easy to get down. And I would put sriracha sauce on it. I
Oh
could eat
shit.
that. It might take me an hour, but I got used to doing that. Like when I was like
Yeah.
19, 20, like I'm going to sit here and I don't have anything else going on. I'm going to watch YouTube video and just fucking work at this meal.
Yeah. It's
Like,
amazing how like just a change in taste
uh-huh.
like can spark your appetite. Like I was kind of getting tired of chicken. Like I was starting to get burnt
Yeah.
out. It wasn't hard to get my meal down, but it was like it was getting
Uh-huh.
tough where I would sit there and like, you're just looking at it, you take a bite, you drink water to get it down. Like it was becoming a chore. And then I
Mhm.
just switched to like shrimp for a meal. Like
Oh, yeah.
shrimp was on sale, was like 50% off at Winn Dixie. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna try some of this. And it just went right down. It was like the easiest
Yeah.
thing.
Just the
Just like a
texture is a little
change
bit
in taste.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes a little bit different. I think like a chicken, like, dude, I love chicken during my prep. I love chicken still right now. It's really easy to eat. I can eat 2, 3, 4 times a day, like no problem. Um, but I think a good swap, like this has been my first time trying the 99 lean turkey. It's actually pretty easy to eat,
Yeah.
especially if you're just trying to pound food, like just mix it in with rice. If you're having veggies, throwing in, like, even if you're eating more food than you ever ate before in your life, like, you probably don't wanna eat veggies, but the veggies help break up the texture of the meals to where, like, you don't just feel like you're eating mush, like you're eating ground beef and rice, like, it doesn't just
Yeah.
you get some green beans or you have some spinach in there. It kinda breaks up the texture a bit, like, texture is huge, to be able to get in some food. And it if it has a little bit different of a texture, like, it kind of like psychologically tricks your brain to being able to eat it. For
One
me,
thing
that
I
worked.
like is the fajita veggie bags. It's like
Mhm.
they're frozen. It's like peppers and onions. It's like a fajita mix.
You'll
You
throw
can
that
just
in
like
with the
throw that
chicken.
in your rice with chicken, and it's significantly easier to get down, even though
Yeah.
it's more food. You know what I
Yeah, you
mean?
would think more food, like, well, I can't eat more food, like, I'm gonna be stuffed. But then also, like, the good thing about the veggies is that they'll actually, like, they have some digestive enzymes in there, like, natural enzymes and fiber and stuff. It's gonna help kinda move that food through you a bit. So, you know, like veggies are. I'm not like always reaching for the veggies in the off season, but like they do help. Like I do
Oh yeah.
notice that like my digestion is a little bit better with some veggies. Um, it's another low meal. I mean, I used to make a mass gainer shake. I used to take this GNC bulk 1340 is like maltodextrin
Yeah.
and just I saw 1340 calories. I'm gonna eat it. And then I'd blend it up with like 2 packets of oatmeal, like the quick oats, or like the cinnamon sugar, whatever ones, and then like throw walnuts in it and a scoop of protein powder. And I would drink that every fucking day. Like what my meals looked like at a certain point was like that. It was that in the morning, and then like some other things in between then, and then like at night, like I would have like that beef and rice meal. There was actually another time, which this is sort of a down bad meal. Like I don't really particularly like this food. It was cottage cheese. I just heard like, oh well, there's casein protein in it.
Yeah.
So like you eat it before bed and it's gonna help you stay in a muscle building state overnight. So I was doing this one pretty consistently to where I would take cottage cheese, blueberries, and then walnuts, and I would eat that.
That sounds amazing.
It probably, I'm sure if you threw some Splenda on it, it would probably be even better. But yeah, I would eat that every night.
I love cottage cheese, dude. Like you could sit one of those like cartons of cottage cheese in front of me right now, and I could just put away the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw that photo I posted up the other day, like where I was 170 and that one photo, 170.
It was 3 different 170s, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like, I mean, that my nutrition has evolved like over time. Like, it gets better and better. Like the thing with like bodybuilding and like the physique development, like you get better and better and better, and you become more efficient. So like, if you're just starting out, like you're gonna fuck a lot of things up, and you're gonna look back in probably 5 or 10 years when of doing this and be like grossed out by what you were eating before or the way you were training before. But like it like accelerates and it gets better because like the more you do it, the more you know. So it's like you're not going into every single day like brand new. Like you're picking up the information you learned from yesterday or from a year ago or from 2 years ago, and like you're applying all this. It compounds. So then it gets better, I think that's with training too. Like I've heard, like, I don't know if you ever heard, like, well, pros can do 2 sets of an exercise and get more out of it than you can because you're a beginner. You need 4 sets because you don't have the mind muscle connection yet,
Yeah. Well, I can like right now, I could get a pump in 2 to 3 warm-up sets with most exercises, where before it would take me till maybe my second exercise to get a pump. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's interesting. I mean, another 5 years, I think, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think I'm doing a lot of things at a professional level right now, but there's always like another stone to unturn, Let's touch on your first cycle. What was the first cycle you ran, and what would you recommend for people that run nowadays if it was their first cycle?
My first cycle, it was 300 milligrams of test for the first 8 weeks. And then I threw in 200 milligrams of DECA on top of it for another 8 weeks.
Okay.
And that was a good cycle.
Weeks total?
Yeah, that was a good cycle. I put on probably 20 pounds. And it was a pretty solid 20 pounds. Like I don't want to say it was all muscle, but it was a lot of good weight. Like I looked considerably the same body fat before and after.
Yeah, that's good.
I think something like that, like a little bit above like a TRT dose, like 300, 400 milligrams of test. Yeah. Even like if you're maybe an older guy, even like 500 milligrams of test, and then maybe like a low dose of nanabolic after about halfway through the cycle. Primobolan, DECA, something like that. So your total milligrams, I would say no more max 700 for a first cycle. So if
That's
you're
pretty
doing
reasonable.
400 tests, 300 primo, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's plenty right there. Where'd you learn? Like, where'd you originally learn your like
So actually,
to do
my
300
first
tests?
cycle was through a TRT clinic.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did they
through
get you
Titan
DECA
Medical.
too?
What's that?
They got you DECA too?
Yeah.
We should have a sponsorship with Titan Medical, man.
Oh man, I don't have a lot
Just
of good things
promoted
to say
them,
about
dude.
them.
No, yeah.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
we'll have to
there are a
get
lot
a.
of these TRT clinics now. You can get Anavar.
Yeah, I would like to have a partnership with a TRT clinic because, like, there's a lot of people that like need to be on testosterone replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy,
Yeah,
and like I think a lot of people get like you know they think steroids and they think of like who's that guy like in the fucking like early 2000s
Rich Piana,
no the dude who like synthalled his biceps like crazy.
Greg
He's on like
Valentino.
yeah, I think people think like that and they think like
Yeah,
that's what's gonna happen to them and like that's not what steroids are but or they think like it's a crime like I don't know like the thing is like in most countries of the world like they don't give a shit about
no, I really don't think in the U.S. unless you're distributing,
if yeah.
I don't think they care.
But most people don't want to break the law, but like, you know, most people do like you hit a certain point, you know, age-wise, like you're gonna need to consider, you know, if you're wanting to like not only like optimize your physique, but like optimize the quality of your life, energy wise, and in your health too. Not just like you want to look jacked, but your actual health comes down to a lot of the hormones in your body. And if you have a low testosterone level, or it's you know declining, other you're kind of opening Pandora's box for other
Yeah,
things to begin. You're gonna become less insulin sensitive because now your body doesn't have the facilities to build muscle and stimulate muscle protein. So if you're not stimulating muscle protein, even if you're not like in the gym 5 6 days a week, like
yeah,
you still need that level because your body's still going to do those functions. But without that function being as good as it can be, now insulin resistance starts to come into play, then diabetes, and then this diabetes opens, well, or pre-diabetes just opens Pandora's box for then you have chronic inflammation, and then the list goes on for what you can encounter from that, like health wise.
yeah.
So
You're more prone to things like osteoporosis, low
mhm.
testosterone is the risk factor for heart attack. Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
of things.
heart, yeah, your lipid panel, like your brain health, because not only do you get testosterone from taking testosterone, but you're getting estrogen as well, which is cardio protective, brain protective, neuroprotective. I believe probably even kidney protective, but joints and things like that as well. So I don't know. There's like kind of the stigma around like like steroids for bodybuilding is different than just HRT and TRT.
100%.
Now, will you get to like will you look like a bodybuilder on HRT dosages? No. But like will you be healthy and will you, have good workouts and get, have good energy? Yeah, definitely. On a, HRT dosage of testosterone. Now, like for me, like my first cycle, um, I learned about stuff like on like the forums and stuff like that, and then like YouTube. Do you know who Dylan Gemelli is?
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel. He used to be big on SARMs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember
He
him.
used
I
to
haven't
like,
heard that name in a long time.
yeah, he still has a YouTube channel actually, and
Okay.
some of his videos are entertaining. But like, he was one of the first persons I actually ever learned from, and it's like, most people would probably hate on him because like he's, I don't know, he's pushing SARMs and stuff like that, and you know, but his videos were pretty
He had a lot of good
educational.
information. He did.
Yeah, he had the basics at least covered. So like I learned like from that, um, from him, and a lot of what was on the forums at that time too is like, okay, your first cycle should be 500 milligrams of test, nothing else. Like and
Yeah.
getting an anti-estrogen, and like yeah, so I jumped in at 500 milligrams, 250 milligrams on Monday, 250 milligrams on Thursday, so twice a week. Um, I did that for 12 weeks, and then like in the last 4 weeks, I added in I think some Anavar like sparingly. Like I did it here and there, but then I
Yeah.
was getting like shin pumps and stuff. And I don't know how much I really stuck out the Anavar, but that was it. And then I did a PCT, and I probably put on about like I remember putting on like 10 pounds in the first week, and I was like, whoa. I looked at the scale, like how am I like 10 pounds heavier than I was last week? Like,
Yeah.
and this was just water weight, and the muscle filling up.
Do you remember your first workout after your first shot? What it felt like?
I remember my first shot, and I remember like picking up my girlfriend at the time, my ass hurting. I
Oh,
remember
shit.
that. I don't remember what we went and worked out. It might have been back. I was at LA Fitness training then. I loved LA Fitness back in the day.
Was it
What was
was
cool
it
was
around here, or were you in a different
I
spot?
was in Orlando, but like what
Okay.
was cool is like there were so many around Orlando that like I would just pop in each and every one of them kind of had like
Yeah.
my favorites. And some of them had like just different machines and stuff or just a different vibe. And yeah, it was that was the spot, dude. That was before Crunch. Like before Crunch
Yeah.
was like in Florida, or I don't even know where Crunch was at that point. Or EOS. I'm sure EOS and Crunch were around, but they weren't. LA was like the king back then.
The first
Like,
crunch I remember was like 2017. I remember seeing a crunch open up.
yeah, I heard about Crunch when I first moved to Tampa. Like people said they go to Crunch. I'm like, what's Crunch? Like, oh, it's like a club. I'm like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
I was going to Fitness for 10 here in Brandon at that.
I like that gym.
You ever been there?
Yeah, I had a membership for about a year.
I'd almost get one there too, just because they got a few good pieces. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like I mean, like Crunch really is like a fucking club, dude. Like
Oh yeah.
part of me was actually gonna go to Crunch today. Like I was like, I'll go to Crunch because I had to go out to Tampa like after. And like sometimes I do like there to be people in the gym, and I kind of feed off the energy a little bit. And like it's always nice seeing like some good looking girls and stuff at the gym, but like, at the same time I'm like I don't really have that much time, and it's like, am I really at the gym to like look at chicks, or am I at the gym to like to work out?
I
And
actually like some of their pieces too. With the majority of those, like the Star Trek, like the chest press, like the flat chest press. I really like that
where it
piece.
has like the different like handle settings to where you could adjust it.
Yeah.
I do like those. Yeah, those are actually pretty good. They're pretty smooth. I also do like, I don't know if it's like a Nautilus piece. It's got a chest support and it has the overhand, or you could do a neutral grip.
Oh, the
It's a
row.
chest support row. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like.
Yeah,
I
I
love
really like
that
that too.
machine. Yeah, I really feel like I can pull like through that machine. Then you can adjust the seat.
Which
What else
crunch do
do
you go to
I'll go
usually?
to channel side. I'll go to
Okay,
channel side usually. That's like
that's the main one, right? Like the
that's the
the
one downtown.
Premier
It used to
Club.
be a powerhouse. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a little bit more expensive actually. It's like 29 a month there. I did cancel my Crunch membership though, so I don't have Crunch. I only have Crunch for like another like couple like another week or so.
Okay.
There might be time to get another membership, but like at the same time, I Advance is plenty, dude. Like, but
Yeah.
there is, what I do wish we had at Advance was cables. Like how they have the
The
what is it
adjustable
called?
cable station.
Yeah, to where it comes out like this. Like it's
Yeah.
called free motion.
Yeah.
Um we just don't have that because I like doing chest presses in there. I mean you could do that's the only real thing I need it for is like doing chest presses. You could do flies in it too, which I do like doing flies in that one over just like
Yeah.
two cables.
I'll
'Cause I feel
do.
like,
I like curls on that piece too. Like if
oh
you put
yeah, that's right.
the
Face
handles
away
behind
curls.
you and kind of
Yeah.
walk forward. I really
Uh-huh.
like that. It's almost like it feels like an incline dumbbell curl, but much
Yeah.
smoother.
Yeah. I mean, you can only do it single arm, like
Yeah.
you can't really do it because it's pulling you out to the sides,
Hmm.
the piece we have at Advance. But no, I do like that machine. That's about it. I
The other
mean,
piece I really wish we had is that it's called a squat press, but
uh-huh.
it's the leg press that like as opposed
Oh,
to
it
just coming,
folds kind of.
it like
Yeah.
hinges. I love that piece. I haven't seen any gyms in the area that have one though.
Crunch doesn't have it. The only place I know that has is Optimum,
Okay. Yeah, I think
which
you
is
told
like,
me about that once before.
yeah, it's It's like a big bikini girl gym. Like they coach a lot of
Okay.
bikini athletes. I don't know how popular it is for bikini chicks now, but yeah, it's one of those types of places. It was like a MMA gym too at one point, like half like MMA. Um the back is like hot as fuck. It's pretty stuffy in there, but like they got a
Sure.
lot of good leg pieces in there. It would be hard to have that as my regular gym. Like,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, commercial gyms like I do like if I had to say what the best commercial gym would be, I would probably say Crunch.
Yeah.
I could make the because Crunch now a lot of the crunches around us actually now have like hammer strength equipment too.
Hmm.
So, it is pretty good. Oh, you know what I do like a lot? I really like the tricep extension machine to where you put your
Okay.
elbows on the pad
Yeah.
lifts. I love that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing feels really good. I like to like pause in the stretch and just like feel the tricep just open up and
Yeah.
then go back down. Like what I'm thinking about more on that is not necessarily about the squeeze. I'm thinking about more of that like the coming up part and just feeling all this stretch.
Yeah.
Like that's like how I look at like arm training. It's like, am I trying to hit the stretch more here or am I trying to hit the squeeze? You know?
Yeah. Another arm piece I really like, just thinking of like random pieces, is it's a bicep machine where the
Mhm.
two arms are like out here.
Oh, you like that one? The
Yeah, and I'll
overhead?
do it like one arm at a time.
Yeah. I
I
think
love
that's
that
like you're
machine, dude.
getting more of just your peak in there because if you're like
Yeah.
this, now I'm like getting my forearm involved and then I'm getting the peak. But if I'm up
Yeah.
here, that's why I'll do like overhead cable curls because I'm just squeezing the peak of the bicep. Like this isn't moving very much. I'm
Yeah.
just
That's a
moving
great
my elbow.
machine.
Yeah. Um, what else? Is there anything else at Crunch that I really like?
I really like the hoist seated leg curl.
Yeah, you like that one.
I know people hate that machine. I don't know what it is. I get a
I
really good pump on it.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I actually got on that machine the other day because that's like I was either doing lying hamstring curls or seated, and my plan that said seated. Um, what I did on that was a 2-second hold at the bottom of every rep, and that shit
Okay.
lit my hamstrings up. Yeah, it was really good.
The only drawback is like the first maybe 20% of the movement, there's like no tension. That's like the
The
drawback
last,
to that.
yeah, no, but it gets very tense at the bottom. I think I don't know about the whole resistance profile of every like hamstring piece or a- any piece in general until I'm actually on it and I'm feeling it. But, like, I think the hardest part of that machine is the bottom,
100%. The
and I don't
contraction is
think
like
I don't think that, like,
super hard.
I don't think the Life Fitness one that we have is the hardest part. It
Now,
might be, I don't know.
what's the red piece that we have?
That one definitely the hardest piece. That's a hamstring
Yeah,
curl.
that one's really hard at the top. The blue one, most of the tension I feel like is at the start of the movement almost.
Yeah, and then as you get down, it lightens up a little bit.
Yeah.
My coach explained that to me. He said, like, certain machines are designed in certain ways because like, okay, so, like, you know how I did that I don't know if you saw my story doing the step back row to where
Yeah.
you row and it kinda drops off? Well, so it'll drop off a little bit in this portion of the movement because that's where most people are failing anyways. Like, most people are
Yeah.
failing in the squeeze. So, like, they designed that machine to where, like, you're able to kinda still some of that tension is dropped off there and you're still able to get that squeeze. Um, but then you can always set, like, bands on things too, like, to
Yes.
change the resistance a bit, if you want it more even, which is cool. I don't know who, like, I think John Meadows is someone who, like, really, um, pioneered, like, the, training with bands and stuff.
Well, bands were like in existence in powerlifting first, and then he kind of
Powerlifters
brought
were
them
using
to,
them?
yeah, like for like speed bench and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then he brought it over from powerlifting into bodybuilding. I feel like he was the first probably to really show bands like application within bodybuilding.
Yeah. Um, Going back to training, I mean, just tying this back into, like, the powerlifting and heavy lifting and power building and stuff like that, like, do you do any deadlifts right now?
Now,
So none.
now I wish I could do rack pulls, but I can't. I mean,
I
I
was
could
gonna
probably do
say
135 with the state of my
mhm.
back right now, but anything more would be
Yeah,
too
my
much.
coach used to have me do banded rack pulls actually in my plan, but, Yeah, like I mean, like with certain movements being very fatiguing and very taxing, like deadlifts, um, like you could do 20 sets of bicep curls and be fine, but you do 3 sets of deadlifts, like
Yeah.
that's more fatiguing than 20 sets of bicep curls,
Where were you banding the rack pulls? Like, how'd you have to band
You
the?
band it. Okay, so at Advanced they have hooks on the on the machine actually, on the power racks.
So, like
There's
below the bar, pulling vertically.
Yeah, so like as you get to the top, it's gonna be more tension.
So I actually did for a while. I was doing banded rack pulls, but I would band it horizontally. So like pulling into the rack.
Uh-huh.
So at the
Oh, so you're
top,
pulling away.
yeah. So at the
Oh, so you're
top,
like
when you were like,
squeezing glutes and pulling hamstrings in
yeah,
more?
you could like really flex into it. It was really interesting. I kind of stumbled on it just by accident
Yeah, that
and
sounds
started
actually
doing
pretty
it.
good. Or
Yeah,
if you rack it like to the bottom to where it's kind of at an angle versus like
yeah.
yeah, that might be worth trying actually.
But yeah, I really liked bands on
Mhm.
rack pull. I think it's really a good exercise for it.
Yeah. You do a lot of like single leg hamstring curl stuff though, huh?
I do, yeah. My
Yeah.
my right, no, my left leg is a little
Mhm.
bit smaller than my right, so
Yeah.
I
So
try
you
to
like
throw
that
in some
red
like,
piece for that one.
yeah, I love that for single leg hamstrings.
Uh-huh.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's perfect.
I think single like unilateral training is really like important too. I mean, everybody trains single arm bicep curls, single arm tricep pushdowns, single arm I mean like
One arm
rows,
lateral
dumbbell
raises, like
rows.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, lateral raises like you know, um I think the benefit to it is you're focused just on one muscle like versus two,
Yeah,
you know. So I think you could put a little bit more focus in there with that and create more tension in the muscle. Now, the only thing I don't see people doing single arm stuff for is chest. Like doing that we talked about this
the
before, like
sideways
doing
press.
the
Yeah,
side press, like you see people do that. Like I'd have to go to an LA Fitness and see who's ever doing that there and then just take a look at their chest. Like, is this working for you?
yeah.
I
I've
don't know
seen Nick
because I
Walker
don't hear
do it
anybody
once.
ever talk about it. Like
I've
people
seen Nick Walker doing it once, and they gave him shit for it on the podcast. But I haven't really
yeah.
seen any other guys doing it that had, considerable
Yeah,
amount of
I
muscle.
I don't know. I mean, because 'cause you're coming across the chest, like there's nobody who trains single arm chest work,
Yeah,
but, you'll do back, you'll do legs, you'll do shoulders, you'll do arms, you'll do I mean, I've even seen people do single leg calf raises before.
I used to do those.
Um,
Just
yeah,
body weight with like a dumbbell in my hand.
mhm, but I've never seen
One
I
arm
mean,
push ups is the only thing, and that's for like,
yeah, who the
you have
fuck
to
is
be a
doing
certain
that?
body type.
Yeah, no, dude, yeah. I don't think too many bodybuilders are doing single arm
No.
push-ups. Yeah, if you do a single arm movement that you don't think that people aren't doing that they should be doing, comment down below what your favorite single arm movement is. Mine right now, I really like that step back row like I feel like I get a lot out of that one. And
Yeah.
then actually if you change like how tall or short you're standing, you kind of I noticed today because I'm just noticing more with my training, taking things a little bit lighter that I can kind of influence a different part of my lat by the way I take my stance and how much I sit over it or sit under it. And yeah, dude, I want to get my back looking like an open fucking bodybuilder's.
I really like the underhand pull down at
Mhm.
advanced bit, doing that one arm.
Oh, I
So
like that.
I can like really lean into it
I see a
and
lot
kind
of
of,
people doing that one.
I like that. I really do.
Yeah, I saw like I see a lot of people hitting that machine. It does feel really good. I don't know if you saw me doing the pullovers.
Yeah.
Dude, with that handle, with the mag grip handle,
I've
do you
never
know
done
who
it with that handle.
do you know who that kid, Logan Guthrie is?
The name sounds familiar.
Like LG The Future on
Oh,
Instagram.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He used to be with Hostel, right?
Classic. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if he's still with them or not, but, yeah, that kid's got an incredible physique.
He used to
But
work
yeah,
out at Fit
I
for
stole that
10,
from
right?
him. He used to what?
He used to work out at Fit for 10 for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think he used to live here. I don't know where he lives now. Um, but yeah, I stole that from him, and dude, that thing feels fucking great because it kinda internally rotates you like this. So it's the
Uh,
mag grip handle that almost looks like a bat.
yeah.
So your lats, like when you hit a front lat spread, or like when you're doing a front relax, you're rotating your shoulders in a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
To pull the lats up and out,
Yeah.
right? Or when you're hitting a back relaxed, you're not like this. Your hands aren't open like this. They're
Yeah.
like this. Your hands are down, right? So your lat, like your shoulder, is responsible for internally rotating to flare out the lat. So if you can't like flare your lats, you'll see people, flare their lats out like this, like round their shoulders forward, and the lats
Uh-huh.
will flare out. So if you're internally rotating like that, you're getting the lats to fully stretch, and then you just like I just tried to feel the stretch as much as possible in that top part, and then just pull it in. I went pretty heavy on those. Today was a really good back day. Like I didn't feel my absolute strongest,
Uh-huh.
but like I just made everything fucking count.
I'll have to try that.
So yeah, dude, give it a try. It felt really good, especially like after as like a finishing movement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um. So all right, we got a few more questions, kind of things on here, which things I just wanted to touch on. So flies versus pressing. So we just talked about like single arm chest pressing movements. Like not too many people do them, but I saw a video on Instagram to where a guy said he had made a lot of progress doing more flies for his chest versus pressing. What do you think about that? Do you think that'd be something you'd be interested in trying?
If I'm looking at my every chest kind of program I've ran, or even my training right now, I probably do presses.
2/3 more than you do flies?
I was just going to say 2/3. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I do 2 presses, I probably do 1 fly.
Mhm.
Um,
That's how it's always been for me too.
I feel like I could maybe get a better pump if I did 2 flies, but I'm
Mhm.
not sure how much that would translate into the development of my chest. But naturally, I've always done like 2/3 presses.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
if I maybe had issues like activating my chest, or was like really shoulder dominant, I think
Mhm.
that could be worth trying. Maybe 2/3 fly, 1 press.
Yeah.
Or if you're dealing with any kind of shoulder issue, it would be interesting to try. It'd be interesting to try it for an extended period of time and see if it made a difference.
Yeah, I would have to try it on like some of my clients that I know are very shoulder dominant and just see how much their chest comes up.
Yeah,
I put it in one of my buddies' programs who he's a little bit more shoulder, so we'll see how well it does for him. I will say that one movement for me that I felt like I responded really well to, I never did them before, but Nick Trigilli, when I worked with him, he had them in my plan. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do them. I usually did these on a cable or a pec deck, but was doing dumbbell flies, like incline
yeah,
dumbbell flies. And I felt
yeah.
like my
I've done
chest
this for
fucking
a couple years.
I felt like my chest like made significant improvements. Like my upper chest
Really?
actually started to come up doing those. I think it was from those because I started to learn how to actually connect to the chest a lot better that way.
Yeah,
Because I think it's one of those movements that like, I mean, a cable like is gonna have a more even resistance profile than a dumbbell. Like this drops off at the top, right? This is the
yeah,
lightest. This is the hardest part of a dumbbell fly. On a cable, this is the hardest part of I mean,
yeah.
it's equally hard, or on a pec deck, it's equally hard everywhere you're at. So, like, I think I consciously, like, since it was lighter here, there's not as much resistance, I had to, like, make an effort to really squeeze my pecs there.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel like there's any, like, particular movement that, like, maybe isn't traditional, like, that people typically do, or maybe people don't do as much anymore, or maybe it is one that people do commonly that you just connect to differently, or you feel like has just made, you know, very good significance in changing your physique or a body part?
I think old school like body weight dips are
Mhm.
extremely underrated. Like
Yeah.
I see people putting them in as like a finisher every now and then, like especially on like that assisted dip.
Mhm.
But like for a few years, like from 2020 to like the beginning of 2022, I was doing
Mhm.
like heavy weighted dips as like my second movement. And I feel
Yeah.
like that really kind of developed a lot of kind of overall upper body muscle, even in like my lats and kind of shoulders.
'Cause
Um,
you're stabilizing so much through your lats,
yeah,
like, with that movement, yeah.
I really think if people kind of did weighted dips again, or even just body weight dips like earlier in their routine, I really think they can get a lot out of it rather than just
Versus
using it
being
as
a
like a
finisher. Yeah.
finisher. Yeah.
So not only just doing it for like triceps, but trying to just hit like all upper body, chest, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Dips
Do you,
always felt good to me. Even that, like the machine we have at Advancement, it's like a, I don't know, is it
the
a
dip
Life
machine,
Fitness piece? I really
the
like that
assisted
piece.
one. Yeah, I like that one too. I like the one that's plate loaded. The ones that they have at LA
I've never
Fitness
used the
sometimes.
plate loaded one.
They feel pretty good.
It looks
There
good
used to be this exercise called the Dirty 30 on that one, where you do 30 reps. I don't know if it's a
with
drop
different
set or
different
if you just.
handles.
Yeah, because you have the ones that are neutral,
Yeah.
flat, and then there's like another one like in front or something. Like you do
Yeah.
one that's
Yeah.
behind you, you do one that's to the side, then you do the front one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all like 10 reps. Yeah. I've totally that was like somewhere stored in my mind, like
I
deep in my
really like
mind.
dips, dude. I really like them. I like
Uh-huh.
dip machines too. It just feels, it's a
Hmm.
great piece, like to get a pump on, so I can understand people using it as a finisher. But I feel
Yeah.
like it has a really big carryover if you did it early in the routine. It's like something you would progress on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a similar movement to like dips would be like neutral grip pressing.
Yeah.
I felt like with dumbbells, like yeah, it was good. But with cables, especially for like developing the lower pec,
Hmm.
which would be like you have like your clavicle or clavicular fibers up top, your sternal, which runs across your sternum, and then the lower fibers would be. Oh fuck, I can't remember. It might be your. I can't remember. Oh, your coastal fibers. So they run like kind of more in this shape. Then you have the pecs, that run more straight across would be your sternal, and then your
Yeah.
your clavicle ones run more up and across like this. So that's kind of how the pec is. So I felt like it really helped develop the the decline, the lower part of my pecs,
Yeah.
uh, versus like doing like I've done decline dumbbell flies before actually, and I felt like those were pretty good. And I've done decline press before, um, but yeah, doing cables or like a dip like is gonna hit more of that lower part of the
Yeah.
pec. So I do think there's a lot of value in doing some kind of dip movement like that, especially neutral grip. When you do the dip machine, do you put your hands neutral or do you put them over like that?
I put them over.
You do over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually do that too. I don't
It's,
ever really hold the inside
I don't feel
handles.
like I have enough like, I don't know if it's just the way the machine's set up, but I don't feel like I have enough power like to actually move weight optimally grabbing the neutral
Yeah.
handle.
The thing about some of those machines is some of them have a seatbelt that you attach into and that keeps you down. And
Yeah.
then the one that is plate loaded, I think that one it has a seatbelt too, to where like the handles are wide enough to where you can stay down like that.
Yeah. I used to
I,
do the LA Fitness I used to work at in
mhm,
Venice. This was like 2015.
uh-huh.
I used to work out with my buddy, and if we did the dip machine rather than use a seatbelt, we would just like lean on each other's thighs,
Yeah, just
like to
push
keep the other
down.
person in. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the seatbelt just doesn't feel. I
Yeah.
don't know. It doesn't.
What
It
I
doesn't
liked
feel
about
effective.
LA is that like every machine, like plate loaded machine they had a stack loaded one too, like somewhere
Yeah,
in the gym. They
yeah,
had like pretty much two of if they didn't like if they didn't have and like that's a good I mean the commercial gyms is like, oh, you're always waiting on equipment. Like LA was pretty good about like having a plate loaded one and a machine, and a stack loaded version
you know,
of
like I
it.
can just think like you remember like the hammer strength high row. Like you would have a plate loaded one and then like a
They
pin
have
and cable loaded
yeah,
one.
they're the pin loaded ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I never really put that together, but you're right. There was always like a plate loaded and then like a cable loaded one
Yeah.
of almost every piece.
Yeah, just about every piece, I would say. So so yeah, dips for you is
What would
being one
you
of
say?
those. So I said incline dumbbell flies.
Okay.
Yeah, so whoever else has a movement that they feel like they get just so much out of that, they recommend. It could be anything. It could be for your legs, it could be upper body, it could be whatever. Comment below. Share some share some of your experience. I'd like to hear it. If there's something I'm not doing, always looking for that secret sauce, man. Um, all right, and then one more thing I wanted to talk about was I got a message from someone who said, um, they said their girl, I think it's their girl, who said that if they do a bodybuilding show, they're gonna encounter a lot of body dysmorphia. What do you think, man? You think body dysmorphia is like really prevalent in terms of, when it comes to bodybuilding and just physique development? Maybe not even just bodybuilding, but just in fitness in general.
It's tough because I feel like there is, but I feel like unless you have like pre-existing maybe issues with your own body, they're not dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like just thinking back, like after I had started working out like a year or two is probably when I felt like I was most jacked. And I was like, 150 pounds, but I felt like I was huge. And like the longer you're in it, I feel like your perception changes to, oh, I feel jacked because, I maybe look bigger than the average person, general public, to, okay, I'm not as jacked as Nick Walker and I'm fucking far from it. So your perception changes by which group you're looking at. You go from looking at the average, person to the elite bodybuilders. So obviously you're going to have some form of body dysmorphia when you're comparing yourself to the best guys in the world versus the average person in your gym. So, but I don't think that's dangerous because I feel like you need to have an accurate understanding of where you're on the food chain in order to progress. You know what I mean? But I don't think you're going to be in a, the average person isn't going to face body dysmorphia to where they hate their body and they need to go to therapy and they develop like an eating disorder or anything like that. I think you develop like a healthy body dysmorphia, really understanding where you stand against the best in the world.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's subjective and it's person dependent. It's like, I mean, my first introduction to bodybuilding was like body dysmorphia. I remember like when I first got into it, I was like scrolling through Facebook at the time, and it was like 1 out of every 100 posts was a fitness post. And this dude, I think it was Chris Gethin, but it was like an ad, or whatever, a workout video, and like he was jacked as fuck, and I'm like, I won't ever be this jacked. And then like I might change my mind. I'm like, well, I could do like 30 push-ups, like 30 sit-ups. Every time I see a fitness post, I'll do that. So I did that. So like my introduction to bodybuilding was like body dysmorphia, but I don't think of it as like what you said. I think there's some positive, like if you can improve your physique and get better, like you should. Nowadays, like the way social media is, like everyone's fucking like 2 weeks out on Instagram. Like,
oh yeah,
like I can see that side to being like influence you to having body dysmorphia, to being, comparing yourself to an unrealistic like type of thing. Like there is like some just fucking genetic freaks out there that like look and some of them not like some of them like just stay on point to where like they're like, within 4 weeks out of a show and they stay that lean and they can be that. That's an anomaly though. Like, like most people aren't going to, and they're getting paid, like to do this, and you don't know what
like,
they're taking.
Who's that one kid, the small Asian kid? He's always shredded. Tristan Lee.
Oh, Tristan Lee, yeah.
I mean, he's like 1 week out, year round. I mean, you can't do that.
No, but like it takes, it's an anomaly. So like, yo, what's up, Levi? He just commented. Yeah, no, it's an anomaly. Like most people aren't going to be able to look like that year round. And like if you're getting paid, like, and if you're getting like,
maybe,
like, yeah, you might be able to look a little bit leaner than you are year round right now, but most people aren't getting paid now. Like post show, like, I
that's
think
a good topic.
I think it can hit you, like, I mean, post show, like you start to see some lines fade and stuff like that. How do you feel like, a month post show?
This past show, I was like, fuck, like, what happened? You know what I mean? It's almost like
you're just in the best shape of your life.
Yeah, it's almost like overnight. Like I just had this
fast.
I had this like layer of water just over, like all over my body, and it was temporary. It was kind of from our rebound because it was so aggressive. But
Yeah.
like for, week 3 to week 5, like post show,
Uh-huh.
I looked like shit. Like I had this massive film of water over me, and I was just like,
Mhm.
what happened? Like, I
Yeah.
don't even look like I competed. You know what I
I
mean?
know. Yeah.
But then, like, you get a better perspective. The water starts to come off. And you're like, okay, I look like I should at 6 weeks after a show. And then
Mhm.
you kind of look forward to what you have to improve on. You kind of get excited about the off season, your next show coming up, and kind of that worry of where you were kind of fades away as you look kind of towards the future. But you're kind of in limbo like weeks 3 to 5 post show, where I feel like you're kind of looking back,
Mhm.
and then it can kind of cause maybe some issues.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like if
I
you don't have a show coming up, or you're not planning on another show, like if you're someone that just says, I'm just going to do one show and then that's it, I
mhm.
think that could cause some issues because you're in the best shape of your life. And then all of a sudden you're almost like, took 5 steps back.
Yeah,
So I
it can
think that
feel
could
like
cause some
that.
issues.
Yeah, because you're definitely gonna rebound, like, in some way, good or bad post show, and probably more often, like, especially after a first show, like, probably most likely gonna look like shit come, like, not like shit, but, like, 3 months post show, you're not gonna look like you're ready for a show anymore.
No.
And, like, I think what can fuck with you is, like, like, you just worked so hard to get into this shape that you take all these pictures and stuff, and you get all this, like, maybe feedback from social media and your friends and things like that, and people on social media and strangers and things like that, and people look at you a certain way, and then, like, that kind of goes away,
Yeah.
and
No one's asking you in the gym anymore if you're prepping for a show.
no, yeah, and as annoying as it fucking is, like, kind
Yeah.
of made me miss that a little bit, but, like, at the same time, like what you said about that limbo, it's like I think for some people they draw it out for a very long time and they don't wind up making any improvements, and then it's time to get on stage again, and it's like, you can get into this cycle. But what I think, like, you have to do, and what, like, you have to be okay with as a bodybuilder is, like, um you have to be okay to, like, go into construction mode and to
Yeah.
shut things down, and to like, you can't do it, you have to do this for you really at the end of the day. So, like, putting on that water and losing some lines, like, you ultimately have to have the vision in your mind that, like, you're going to make another improvement and have another goal to look forward to, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I think this is a spot where a coach is really beneficial.
yeah.
They can be like a second set of eyes to where like you might be like, fuck, I got to start a mini cut or something at this point, where they're like, no, like you're right where you should be. We're gonna up food. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and then, like, the thing is, it's, like, not like the I don't wanna say, like, the faster you can get into an off season and get progressing, like, the better, but, like, don't spend too much time in that limbo. Like, it's time to, like, once you're post show and, like, your lines have started to fade, like, what you have to realize is, like, you can't stay in that condition forever. One, it's just mentally fucking challenging, and there are your genetic anomalies online and guys getting paid for it, and you don't know, like, what their actual mental health is staying in that type of shape year round, or what their actual health, their blood work looks like staying in that shape year
Yeah.
round. But, like, it's time to, shut it down, and if you are someone who is, like, not very secure in yourself, and you're getting a lot of, like, of your value and, like, ego boost off of, like, how you look on social media, um that's not very healthy, but I think the people that succeed the most are the ones that, like, just like every day there's a start of the day and there's the end of the day. Like, you have to, like, this package that you have, it's done, it's over, it's time to shut it down, and it's time to rebuild something new. And if you're, like, holding on, "Oh, I'm trying to just keep, I wanna just still look," it's an
Yeah.
amazing experience. Like, of course, you wanna look the way you looked on show day, but, like, time's gotta go on, man. Like, you gotta keep marching forward in some way. And, like, if you sit in that, like, I just want to try and stay lean and, like, keep my abs and worry about that, like, you're never gonna get anywhere,
Yeah. That's a
You're not
really good
gonna
thought
make
because you
those
really like
improvements.
that first 3 to 5 weeks, you really are kind of living in the past. You're thinking about show day, what you achieved, how the prep
Yeah.
went. You're looking back at pictures.
It's all settling in because it comes and goes so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I understand that's where you kind of would be most like vulnerable to body dysmorphia because you're just looking back.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that 5-6 week point, you start looking forward to the next show, to what else you want to achieve. And then that body dysmorphia kind of slowly fades away where you feel comfortable with how you look and, you know, putting on more body fat and more weight.
Yeah. And I think you got to get to that place in a proper timeline. Like you can't stretch it out for an entire year or like,
No.
because you've just wasted a year at that point, you know?
Yeah.
If no one's paying you to stay fucking lean, put on some weight and get, you know, make some improvements.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe just get off social media for a little bit. I don't know if that's like something that drives you crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe take a little break from the explore page and, you know, who's doing what. Like, the other thing is, I think post show, like 3 or 4 months later, you're going to look at your physique and be like, holy shit, I got into shape. Because when you're like a month out, 2-3 weeks out, you never feel in shape, you know?
No.
Like,
You think you look horrible.
Yeah. So there's that there. But like, you have to also understand what your perspective is. It's like, you're feeling this, you're going through this, you're in it. It's like, but it would almost be like, I like to like look at things like this. Like if you're in the game, like when you watch a basketball game or a baseball game or like a football game on TV, as a fan, you're like, why did they make that stupid fucking play? Like, why did they do that? And it's like, but you're not on the field. Like, you're not in the actual game itself. So you don't know, like, and the coach is on the sideline. The coach is not in the game. So you have to be, you're very biased by sitting out, you know, because you're in the game, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're able to take a step away, you look and you're like, holy fuck, like I was shredded to the gills, you know, like, but when you're in it, it's just hard to really recognize it.
Yeah. That's like, you know, you've heard of people like that take more diuretics than, you know, they're advised, or their coach tells them to take a half a diazide and they take a whole diazide. In the moment, they're like, fuck, I'm watery. Like a half isn't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you kind of get past that and you can look back, like being like the fan, you're like, why did I do that? Like that was the stupidest thing I could have done. Like, but you're not clear headed in the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's why it's important to have a coach, I think. And,
actually listening to the coach too.
Yeah. Because you're like, I don't know, you're gonna, like, you need a co-pilot, you know?
Yeah.
Like Top Gun. Like you need like someone like who has your back and who has like the big picture in mind. So that helps with that. Like I don't know.
Even
I think
guys that have like self-coached themselves, like Dorian Yates, always had like a set of eyes to look at him, you know,
right. Yeah.
to kind of give him feedback.
Yeah, I think if you're like going into this like thinking like you're gonna love the way, like dude, like in the morning I fucking feel flat and like depleted, and by the end of the day I feel fucking full of water and fat. Like it's not reality though, and it's like you just have to realize that. Like, and if you have like very strong body dysmorphia issues going into this, probably not for you, you know. But like, if you can like be okay, like what it's gonna take to get ready for a bodybuilding show, like maybe this is easier for guys, you know. But like you're gonna like to put on muscle, you're probably gonna lose your abs, like at least that first time. And if like you've seen your abs fade and then you get them back, like if you've done that multiple times, it gets easier and easier. I mean, but if you've never done that before, you know, and I don't know, your image to you is very, very important, then it could affect you.
Yeah. And I feel like the further along you get in your own progression, the leaner you're going to stay in the off season, just naturally. But like those first like year or two, you're not going to hold your abs like you're saying and gain a significant amount of muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, for an example, like, and I'm not trying to throw my buddy under the bus, but like, he did 5 shows last year, and you know, he won the overall, or he won his first show. But part of his reasoning for wanting to do 5 shows, we didn't plan to do 5 from the beginning. Well, it was because it kept him motivated.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like, yeah, it's good to stay motivated. It's good to have a goal in sight and in mind, but like bringing the same package to the stage 5 times, I wouldn't really advise that.
Yeah.
However, he's also like his own person at the end of the day, so he gets to make his own decisions. Now, for him, he's also deaf. So like part of the reason what I can see is that like, well, maybe like, image and visual, he's missing a sense. Like he can't hear.
Hmm.
He has 4 senses, everyone else has 5. So your visual, what you look like is a lot more of an important factor,
Yeah.
So, um, you know, however, like by the 5th show, like there wasn't really very much improvement between show
Yeah.
1 and show 5. So,
In
you
general,
know,
like unless you were trying to qualify for like a pro card, or if you were already a pro and you already have a physique built and you were trying to qualify for like the Olympia, I could
yeah,
see maybe doing that many shows.
yeah.
But like you're saying, if you're just kind of doing it for like satisfaction, like at the end of the
Well,
day, it's his choice.
he
You
was
know.
also like signing more clients and stuff like that by
Okay,
like that's the thing,
that's
like
understandable.
there's the other side of it because like when you're getting ready for a show, it's probably the time you're gonna get the most people watching your Instagram story and keeping up with your page and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
like it's gonna feel pretty good. But like I think like you have to realize as a person, like you're constantly evolving that like if you're only hammering one like to be well rounded, like some people could just have a physique and like that's all they ever fucking need. But like I don't know. I think there's seasons like that's why they call it an off season, like an improvement season. Like you know, there has to be that period. Just like going to bed at night, like you can't just stay awake 24 hours, 365. You have to
Yeah,
shut down things sometimes. So it's like if you could take it as basic as that and be okay with that, um, then metaphorically go to bed, wake up, and start a new day. I always
yeah,
feel better after a night of sleep. You know, after you shut things down for a little bit, you get going in that off season, you start making progress. Your goals shift. Now it's like, okay, it's not necessarily about being shredded. It's about being strong as shit and like getting
yeah,
reps in and getting good pumps and seeing that scale go up and seeing your progress photos, like seeing like gains happen in your progress photos. That's exciting at that point.
yeah,
It does take a little period though between like that post show rebound phase to like, you know, maybe 2-3 months post show to where like, okay, now we're like starting to stack progress, like,
yeah.
seeing things really happen.
That's a good point because, like you were saying, like some people always want to be in season. They always want to
Hmm.
compete. They always want to be in show shape. But you look
Yeah.
at any other sport, every sport has seasons. Like the
Hmm.
NFL, they don't play, 48 weeks straight every year.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
an off season and then they prepare for their season. Let's say you win the Super Bowl, you win a bodybuilding show. Okay, now
Yeah.
we have to go into the off season and see what we have to work on to either repeat or get better. You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
just be playing it, 100% playing games, competing in shows year round.
Yeah.
You're gonna crash. You
You're
know?
gonna crash and burn, and like naturally, like, well, either you're gonna crash and burn, not like because you made it, like you fucking the wheels fell off, or you
Yeah,
could like it's just like getting an oil change in your car. Like the car needs to get an oil change. You need to get your tires like changed. There's a million metaphors we can make for this, like,
yeah,
but yeah, eventually you're gonna need to get new tires for your car. Like shit fucking breaks down, and um, yeah, I mean, you gotta like, I don't know. I think that like the sport of bodybuilding overall summed up is like sometimes it's one step back and 2 steps forward, and it's like you gotta you gotta like wear it like a loose garment, pretty much.
yeah,
And if you're in your head like too much, like I don't know, man. Go talk to a therapist or something. Like,
yeah.
like I don't
Well, they say,
know. Like,
I forget who said it. It might have been a study or something, but um, people with like pre-existing like mental disorders, a lot of them are drawn to the sport of bodybuilding for whatever reason. Have
uh
you heard
huh.
that before?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what it is, if it's like the routine of it or, but like, I mean, there's a lot of fucked up
There's
people
a
in the
lot of
sport.
nuts. It's funny, bro. I was at that posing seminar, at Redcon 1, and I went to go grab like this ab mat, and like this chick, she's like a couple weeks out. I just saw that she had competed at a show that was recently, so I'm not gonna like mention the show. Well, it wouldn't even really fucking matter.
Yeah.
But like, I went to go grab an ab mat out of this bin, and I'm like, they're all like kind of beat up, and like none of them are
Mhm.
firm. But I was gonna put it behind my back to do chest press, so I can get a little
Yeah.
bit more of a stretch. And she's like eating her meal, like of whatever she was eating, like, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?"
She
Like,
said that to you?
she like said it like not to me, but like it's like a thought that would come to your head that she just let out,
Yeah.
you know? And it's just like, holy shit. Like I probably act like this too when I'm like 3 or 4 weeks out. Like I don't know. Like
That's
the
funny.
other part of it, it's like like I don't know, like people say it's a selfish sport, you
I agree
know?
with that.
Yeah, man. I wish like um I think like what I want to work on like is being being able to wear this looser.
Yeah.
Like you ever see like how like Chris Bumstead's videos like how casual it looks like he trains like getting ready for the Olympia to be the best in the fucking world.
Yeah. It's like he's going to hang out with his buddies or he's going to
Yeah,
the mall or something.
just doing a lift like yeah, or like um uh, even I mean he would be like the first person I could think of like that. But the reality is like it's just not what we see on camera, you know. It's like there's
No.
a whole other side to, but being able to be like still giving in some way, like
Mhm.
as somewhat of an ambassador and like being professional, like I think there is um like if you can be a professional on and off the court, like almost like like I think that's a good trait to have. Like okay, like the NFL player who played for the Bucks and he like got like he doesn't play for the Bucks anymore. What's his name? He like kind of threw a fit and like threw his jersey like into the
Antonio
stand.
Brown.
Antonio Brown, like
Yeah.
like he's not even playing football anymore. I don't think.
No, you're right.
Like professional athlete, but like what else, dude? Like like I thought you wanted to play football, like
The guys that are most marketable or have the longest careers or make the most money are the ones that are professional, like on and off the field. Like you
Yeah.
don't see like Antonio Brown as an analyst, but
Mhm.
you see, Shannon Sharp as an analyst.
Yeah,
You
and Tom
see,
Brady could probably come back and be analyst or whoever, like
oh yeah, he'll make a
uh-huh.
ton of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, is Dan Marino an analyst?
Yeah. Dan Marino.
Uh-huh.
Who else are like some prominent analysts? Steve Young, Tony
Yeah.
Romo.
Yeah, Tony Romo.
Guys that
Mhm.
are kind of professional off the field end up being, analysts or making money, you know, in sports media or with sponsorship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys that are kind of just on the field and then maybe like, wild or get into trouble or other things off the field don't last and kind of don't have a second career after, playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of me just wants to get to the point to where cuz you ever heard the thing is life is hard but like you choose to struggle or like prep is hard but you choose the amount of like struggle you actually have.
Yeah.
So like, it's like you're doing a hard job at the end of the day like, but are you going to let it beat the shit out of you or are you going to like, you know, be a professional about it and just be like this is just
Yeah.
the work like, and yeah, I'd like to get to be more like that, but also at the same time I'm like dude, I'm fucking giving absolutely everything to get like peeled to the bone. Like
That's the thing. Like if
that's
you're
what
giving,
drives me. Like at the end of the day, it's like I get to the end of the day, I'm like, I'm kind of fluffy still. I want to make sure I fucking kill it tomorrow. Like,
yeah,
no one's gonna fucking get in the way of that. Like,
bodybuilding
just
is
bury
so
my head down.
demanding.
Yeah.
Like the selfishness almost comes from it's literally so demanding. Like every
Mhm.
minute of every day you have to be looking towards, all right, I have to make this meal, I have to do this amount of cardio, I have to get this workout in, I have to do this other cardio session. Like that, it's hard to expend energy and thought into anything else.
Anything,
You know what I
dude.
mean?
I was thinking like today, like I was watching my show and then falling asleep, like 10 minutes into the show, and then rewatching the show later. It's like I don't have that fucking kind of time on a contest prep.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there has to be a meal that has to get eaten. There has to be a cardio session. There has to be a training session that has to get done. There has to be a time that I'm actually getting to bed at. Like,
Yeah.
like the thing is, like, I think the best way to practice that would probably be practicing it in the off season.
Sure.
Like I don't know if you ever heard like Nick Walker, like he's so on point, like to where his off season is basically like a prep. Like he's in bed by a certain
Yeah.
time, like like within some degree, like they're not fucking saints, like they're gonna have a
Sure.
later night every once in a while, or a travel day, or
An
a
off
night out,
meal
an
off
off
plan.
meal. Yeah, but but still being able to be a professional and still being able to take care of all the other things. Um, it is ultimately like the goal, because like while it is a selfish sport, like I mean, we talked about relationships on the last episode. Like I also think like your partner has to have like an understanding themselves, or at least like you guys have to have somewhat of a I mean, it's a selfish sport, but it's also like it's an individual sport. Like it is an
Yeah.
individual sport, but it's like um so there's a lot of alone time involved in it, and there's a lot of just like fucking just you in the gym, or you in the cardio machine, you in the weights, and like you in the meals, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of alone time, but like to where like a relationship could get affected in that way, to where like you don't have 100% that day to give the relationship, but maybe you have like 10% or 20%, and like you got to have that level of communication in your relationship to be able to you know I don't know. You hear people like taking China and getting divorces and shit.
Oh yeah. 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out.
I just got divorced.
Yeah.
It's terrible, dude.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there has to be like, even though it is an individual sport, it does help to have a support
Mm-hmm.
system.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but at the same time, like you
Do you
don't
think?
want anyone or anything to detract you from what you would potentially do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or like place more on you than you already have on you.
Yeah.
So
Like if you're feeling like shit, it's like 3 weeks out and all of a sudden you're getting in an argument over whatever, you're just like, fuck. Like,
yeah, yeah,
you just, you can't even, you don't even have an energy to argue at that point.
yeah,
Like, you don't care about the issue. You don't care about the argument. You're like, I got to get up in 7 hours and do an hour of cardio. And that's all you're
yeah,
thinking of. I think
yeah.
that's why a lot of relationships end, because you're so tunnel vision in the show. You're like, okay, if I get divorced, it's going to take the stress off me. I can put more focus on the show. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
And then
yeah,
no one's thinking about after that, though. They're just thinking about, the
yeah.
show.
Yeah, I think if I get into a relationship, then I'm gonna have to have like, hey, look, so here's like the contract of like this is how I
Yeah.
get. Like,
It's almost like a prenup before you even start.
yeah, this is just what you're getting into, just so you know. Like that'll have to be like the first few questions. Oh man, actually, wait.
Do you think it helps if you're in a relationship with a competitor, or do you think that could even make things worse?
Well, I don't. I think it could be good. I think it could make things worse. Because if you guys are both competing, like I
Yeah.
mean, I know like John Jewett and his wife like do it, competing around the same times. But they seem to get along really well. I don't, based
Yeah.
on what they post on social media and stuff. I think I know like one other guy, like some dude here in Tampa that is getting ready for the Tampa Pro, and I think his girl's getting ready. I don't know the dynamic of the relationship though, but like
It seems like in those relationships, a lot of times one person has to stop. If you know
yeah, I think like because it's just like you need someone who has a clear head, like you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
It's
Like,
interesting.
because otherwise, it's like it would almost be like, especially like with food, like post show and stuff like that. Like, all right, let's go eat everything. Like, you're just gonna
Yeah.
enable each other to like,
Instead of
but at
someone
the
saying like,
same,
"Hey, maybe that dozen donuts isn't a good idea," you
yeah.
know?
But I also like if I want to eat a dozen donuts, I just want to be like, let me just fucking eat all these donuts. Like,
Yeah, we'll worry
I'll
about it
pay.
later.
Yeah, we'll worry about it later. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would like to hear from the viewers below. Do you think that um, being in a relationship, it'd be good to have the person your partner also be involved in the sport of bodybuilding, or do you think that they shouldn't be involved in bodybuilding whatsoever, or do you feel like if they are involved in bodybuilding, that you should have separate times for preps, and that you should
That's
be
a good
helping
idea.
him? Well,
Yeah, that
so
would be good.
well, I mean, I like my ex, like I helped her get ready for the Tampa Pro a few years ago, and it was great, man. I would get up early, like cook her breakfast, like it actually felt like nice, like 'cause you're kind of living like vicariously through that person, like
Yeah,
because they're prepping, and it's like you want to see them win, and you want to do things for them to be a support, but sometimes like I just feel like I'm just a fucking asshole sometimes. Like
oh,
I
I know
have
I
to
am.
make my chicken the right
Yeah.
way. Or like I have to make my oats the right fucking way. Like, you fucked this up. Are you sure that was actually 40 grams? Because this looks like it might be only. This looks like 60 grams.
Yeah, yeah. Or was it,
It's-
how much olive oil did you spray on that pan before you put
Are
it
you
in?
sure? Yeah. It's not that they're trying to sabotage you. It's just like you've been doing everything by yourself that it's like you don't want to give out any variables. And
No,
it's like you're about to ruin the trust of your relationship based off of 20 grams of oats.
it sounds silly, but like it's a game of inches. Like
Yeah, no, it
if
is though.
every
It's like
day
you
you're
don't want to
supposed
be
to
at the
have 40 grams of oats and you're having 60
Mhm.
grams, like at the
Yeah.
end of a 16-week prep, how many calories is that? You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so like that I mean and you don't want to get off stage and be like fucking lost by one place or like miss the pro card or like
Yeah.
you know fucking because you're taking a lot of time, you're taking a lot of energy, and it's like it's time you can't really get back,
No.
so like at the same time though, like I think you have to enjoy the process, win or lose. Like, um, I don't know. I feel like if you kind of go into it that way, like if you're not as attached to the outcome, like
I agree.
maybe it does go better. But like there's also like like pressure is like a privilege. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's like the pressure is kind of what keeps the foot on the gas, and
Yeah.
like,
Because if you're not attached to the outcome, how it's tough because I feel like that would be a better mindset. But if you're not
uh-huh,
attached, if you're like, well, if I don't get the pro card this time, no big deal. Like, I don't know
yeah.
if that guy is gonna like keep his foot on the gas when things get really tough.
Yeah. Well, maybe what the most important thing is like just to focus on one day at a time, like because you're
Yeah,
thinking, well, it's like my show's 3 weeks away. Like I just have to control the day. Like,
yeah.
like
Well, that
the
goes back to
fucking
like you were talking about earlier, like you were talking about with your client. You told her to check in
uh
on Monday to kind of have her look, just a couple days ahead rather than
yeah.
maybe Wednesday where you give her that refeed. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You're kind of keeping her eye, just one day at a time. Well, let's see what you look like, then we'll make a decision rather than saying, okay, we're not going to refeed until a week later. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You really need to kind of look one day at a time. Even like when prep gets really hard, I just look one meal at a time.
Hmm.
Or I'm like, fuck, that cardio
I
session
look
was
at like
hard.
hours
Like,
by hour. I like get up in the morning and I'm like, fuck, I got all this to do today. And then
yeah,
it's like, and then by the time you know it, it's like 8 p.m. It's like, wow, the day's like fucking finally done. Like, and I got one more meal. I'm gonna get to sleep, and then I'll be up early as fuck to do it again. But, like,
yeah.
sometimes the best part of the day is, like, it's the end of the day in prep,
Oh yeah.
you know?
I remember some like the last couple weeks of prep, like the leg day, it was a leg day. And when you're like 2-3 weeks out, leg days are fucking hard. So I had an
So
hour
much.
cardio fasted, then I
Mhm.
had to train legs, and then I had to do
Mhm.
another half hour. So when you're
Yes.
waking up, like you're like, fuck,
It's a
this is a
fucking
shitload of
mountain.
stuff I have to do.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So I was just like, all
You
right,
have
just
work and you have, work or whatever.
yeah. So it's just like, just get through this cardio session. Just don't worry about anything else. Let's just do this hour, and
Uh-huh.
then you get to eat after. So I
Yeah.
was just looking like meal to meal,
Yeah.
workout to workout, rather than the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like you hit those checkpoints. It's like, all right, like you can get through it. Like if I get a meal, like when I eat a meal, I'm good for about like 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours, you know.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, "Ah, fuck." Like the timer's starting to tick down and it's like, you know, um not that like I'm like stressing out or anything like that, but it's like I'm hungry, I can feel it like
yeah,
getting that close. And then you're also thinking like, all right, I had one meal, I had this much water, got legs, and it's just like getting fucking started. It's like pulling like a lawnmower, and that handle for that lawnmower just gets a little bit heavier each day to pull that
yeah.
fucking thing.
Do
But
you
like
ever have moments where you're eating a meal and you start to get like depressed, like halfway through the meal,
then it's
knowing that you
almost
only
done.
have half? Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, dude, my favorite fucking meal, like, which I still eat oats right now, but my favorite meal, like, I would get off cardio and I could sit there and eat the meal sweating and shit like that from cardio, but I would get in the shower, I'd heat the meal, the oats, and then I'd have like blueberries with like protein pudding. I would mix like
yeah,
protein pudding, and I made this little like it was great. And then I would put like I'd have almond butter on the oats too. So I'd eat through like most of the oats, some of the berries after getting out of the shower. Like, I would check my physique. Like, all right, I'm looking fucking shredded. Like, especially
yeah.
after the cardio, and then eat, and then it's like, all right, like 15 minutes. I have a client coming up, like, and then just try to take those fucking moments, like, dude, sometimes I would be like, I would eat my first meal, and then it'd be like, it's only been like 45 minutes. I'm just gonna eat the next meal right now. I'm
Yeah,
hungry. I'm hungry. Like, yeah, and then like you have to like make a move later in the day where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna space things out. Like,
yeah.
all right, I'll go 4 or 5 hours or so. Like, I could just drink a shit ton of water right now, get through it. But like in the grand scheme of things, man, like it's like 12 weeks or it's like 18 weeks or it's 20 weeks. It's like sometimes it's about half a year. I mean, that's like about half your year, like getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
And I would say like the last 6 weeks or 4 weeks, like kind of start to suck. But like it's 4 to 6 weeks of suck. But it's like, it's, I mean, like you're like literally getting to like not just 1% of the world, but like 0.01% of the world ever gets in that type of shape.
Yes.
So you're doing like the damn near impossible, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's just an accomplishment, like, and that's like something to be proud of. And um yeah, I don't know, man.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's fucked up, but
I know,
there's
it's
nothing else I'd
crazy,
rather
dude.
do.
Yeah, seriously, it's a fucking crazy. And like, is there a point on prep where you're like, why the fuck am I doing this again? You ever hit that point?
I don't know
Not
how.
not to where you're like gonna throw in the towel, but you're like, holy
Yeah.
shit, why have I
Well,
told?
you reminisce about like the good times that you didn't appreciate. Like, fuck,
Oh
I
yeah,
like 6 months ago, I wasn't dieting and I wasn't enjoying any of it. Like, I
I
had all this
know.
free time. I didn't appreciate it. I could have an off meal. I didn't
Yeah,
appreciate any of it. And then you're like, next time I'm going to appreciate it. And
yeah,
then
and
you
then you,
still kind of never appreciate it like you should.
yeah. It's like I don't know. It's like like when I first like the first time I got hungry on prep, it was 18 weeks out. We had just started dieting. I go to Publix to get like the essentials that I need for that week. I see this lady carrying over like a carrot cake, and I'm like, the fuck did I not eat that when I could have?
Yeah.
Now the door is closed, dude. Like I can't have carrot cake.
18 more weeks.
Fucking 18 weeks, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
I
start,
I
you
was
start craving things you didn't even think
I didn't
about
even give a
wanting.
shit about. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
like pizza. one thing that like after like 8 weeks out, like I just want to have pizza, and I don't really give a shit about pizza in the off season because it fucks my stomach up too much.
Yeah.
But when you're prepping, like, dude, your stomach, you could take anything. Like,
Oh
you could
yeah.
eat fucking like raw meat and probably like digest it no problem.
I bet that's true.
Yeah, your body's so hungry at that point. Um, but there's like when dude, I mean, there's times where like this last prep where like everything fucking hurt, dude. Like my fucking jaw hurt,
Yeah.
my temples hurt, my knees, like my ankles, like my wrists, like something was hurting. Like you just feel your shoulders, you're just achy. And it's not because like you damaged anything. It's just because you're just so dry and depleted and flat.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's like I'm gonna keep my trend to like 200 milligrams, bro. 150, 200. I think 350 just makes you a psychopath. Like 350 plus is like for me, it's just like it's too stimulating on the central nervous system.
Yeah.
To where like I try to lay down to relax for a nap, I can't fucking get down.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like, and I might get down for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but my body wants to get up. And like part of that's because your body wants to get up and wants you to eat food and things like that. But the
Yeah.
other part is like you're like trend is like tunnel vision, dude.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's trend that's tunnel vision, but because I've always ran it in prep, and I think I'm gonna get tunnel vision no matter what because you're focused on that date.
Yes.
But like
It has the ability to take away your emotions. For sure.
Yeah, dude. I have no emotion. I'm just like just want to lay here. And then if I like can actually rest a little bit, then I'm like, oh fuck, dude. I actually like kind of come back to life a little bit.
Yeah.
If that headache goes away, like yeah. Sometimes there's just moments of the day where you feel so depleted that like you're just counting down the moments to where you can get to kind of, and you might have to go and work out. Like you might have a leg day
Oh
coming up,
God, dude. Yeah.
And but like the thing is like ultimately like I don't know. You have to. I think the thing to look at is like everything's gonna be all right. So
Yeah.
hard to believe that though when you're fucking like dead.
Especially once you've done a few shows, you're like, okay, I've been here before. We've gotten through it before. We'll get through it again.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I will say like my like first like 8 weeks of like the first like before we were like about 5 or 6 weeks out, easy, dude. Real easy.
Yeah.
Just doing cardio, like just fucking getting there. Shit was coming off every week. Progress was looking better. And then by the time I hit like 4, 5, 6 weeks out, ooh, that's where it just started getting rough. But I don't know. Like
kind of hits you like a ton of bricks just one day too. Like you're doing fine, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Fuck, this just got a lot harder than it was yesterday."
I remember being a day out from my show, dude, and like carrying shit up to the hotel room, and I was just like, "Fuck this, fuck this." It's like, dude, you compete tomorrow. Like you're gonna get to eat like whatever the fuck you want in like literally 30 hours from now. Like, and it's just like, but I just fucking feel it. Yeah,
I get like that after going grocery shopping when you're on prep, and you have to carry all the groceries inside.
Oh,
and
dude,
it's like, fuck, I don't want to carry. Like, I got to carry all these inside now.
One of the
and then I got to put it away.
I wish I like wrote these things down that were really hard. That way I could like remember how hard they're gonna be in the future. But like I remember like getting my gym bag out of the car, like reaching into the passenger seat to pick up my gym bag, and then getting out of the car and then closing the car door was fucking hard. Like what I would do is I would like have to like get out of the car. Like, and if I didn't like close the door hard enough, it wouldn't fucking close.
Oh God.
And then that would piss me off because it's like you're doing something twice, when you done it right the first time. And then I go around the car, it's hot as fuck out, open the door, grab my bag, can't even think right. Like, get halfway into the gym. Oh, fuck, I forgot my headphones. Go back, grab the headphones. Like, or something like that. Like where you have to repeat repeating.
Yeah, we talked about it before. Like if you tell someone something, they say, huh? What?
Yeah.
You have to say it again.
Yeah. So
you're almost just like, never, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after a certain point, I just want to be quiet.
Yeah. I'd say that's the biggest thing for me. I just don't want to talk. Sometimes I don't even want any stimulus. Like I don't want to listen to anything. I don't want to watch TV. I just want to be quiet.
I don't even listen to music. like I literally only listen to like bodybuilding podcasts, videos,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like just because I knew they were in the same shit as me, and like I dude, I just started listening to music again, like maybe a few weeks ago, like
Yeah.
because I could actually like just throw on music and like let it play and like not really care. But like, yeah, it's almost too stimulating. It's like it's energy that you have to absorb and process and things like that.
Yes.
When you're dieted down like that, you just don't have like don't have it. You don't have the energy to
No.
process all that shit. But yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, we'll leave it off there. I mean, if anybody has any comments and whatever they'd like to share below, definitely would like to hear about some workouts that you feel like, hit muscle group, hit a muscle group, different than any other thing, or you grow the best off of. Comment that below. Comment below if relationships and prep, if your girl or your partner, can also be in prep, if they should be not in the sport of bodybuilding at all, or if they um, can be a bodybuilder but have to prep at different times. I would like to hear uh, some of the feedback there, or anything else you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. So that'll do it, man. That'll
Another
do it,
great
guys.
episode, man. Always have a blast.
Yeah, man. Good times, bro. All right. This will be posted up. Comment, share, subscribe, and then links down in the description. I'm gonna see if I could type out the timestamps. If not, just skip around to the video. You're gonna find some good stuff in here. All right, bro.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep. Catch you guys later.